Good evening, people. How is everyone after that particular terrible game? I mean, come on, seriously. That second half was just another fucking embarrassment. But then again, it's irrelevant, really, isn't it? Same as the past couple of games before the Cup. It's irrelevant. I mean, where was it going to get us? Maybe it got us a £9 million. Wouldn't have done no one no harm. But it's pretty much irrelevant, like the 2 or 3 or 4 games before the Europa Cup. The only one that has really mattered, because it can make or break something, was that Europa Cup. But I got told having this attitude when, in my opinion, I'm just being realistic with it, it's the wrong way. You've got to win everything. You've got to go out there and have a winning mentality to win things, to try and win every game, no matter what. Our manager blatantly admitted that he blew the season in December, round about December, that he'd already blown the season out. Is that a winning mentality? I don't know. It's just a question. I mean, okay, he's got us this cup. Well done. And again, Ange, I'll give you all the credit for it. Well done. One way or another, you got across that line through thick and thin, which others couldn't do. And you'll get my respect for that. Yeah, respect for that. I'm just having a bit of a problem. I mean, like I've said to a lot of people on here, me and emotions, I don't understand a lot of emotions. I get them because my wife hammered them into me, basically, and taught them to me for nearly 11 years. But a lot of emotions, I don't understand it. So maybe I need some people to actually guide me, tell me a few things, show me a few things. I have seen so many people, Spurs supporters, YouTubers, everything, a lot of people calling for this man's head because he has been a terrible manager. And then over a matter of 90 minutes, because he wins us a cup, everything's allowed to be put aside. Now, I get it. We hadn't won a cup for 17 years. It's the biggest thing we've done. It saved our arse. It got us in the Champions League. It basically saved this season and for me, just put a lot of wallpaper over the cracks on the fucking wall. And now all of a sudden, I see a majority of the Spurs fan base Ange in. Are you for fucking real? Seriously. Now, again, I got an opinion on this. I always like to try and understand. If I can't understand, at least get the other person's opinion. At least get it. This one, I slightly get it. And in the aspect of that, by what I mean by get it, is that there's a lot of people all of a sudden thinking of morals. And for me, there is nothing wrong in life with having a few morals to your life, with certain places you go, certain places you don't go, certain things you will do, won't do, say, whatever, yeah? You need that in life. But to me, this isn't just about life. Sorry, I'm doing two things at the same time here, and I'm not good at that either. To me, when it comes to being a business, or when it comes to sport, or anything like that, for me, it's about winning and improving. And we have got the perfect chance now, really, to rebuild on this, to make something out of what was broken, basically. We've got the perfect chance to do it. But out of morally correctness, political correct, whatever you want to fucking call it, people are now saying Ange needs to stay because he's earned it. I'm sorry, for me, he hasn't. And in 90 minutes and winning a cup, it does not change my opinion on where we finished 17th in a fucking league with 22 defeats. Some say you're just being negative. Why not enjoy the moment? I did. I enjoyed the moment. I got pissed up quite nice that night. Next day or two, enjoyed it. But again, this is where I suppose we have different attitudes. People look on things a bit different. For me, the league is done and dusted, and it was for a while when we kept him. But either way, yeah, it's over now. The league's over. We can't change nothing. It's over. But then the cup for me is done and dusted as well. We've won it. Great. It goes on our history now. But that's done and dusted for me. I'm now the sort of person that starts looking ahead to the future. Right, where do we go now? What do we do now? What do we need to do to improve? We have been this bad that we've just given ourselves a escape hole out of it, basically, to rebuild quickly, or a lot quicker than we would have. I can't just sit here and celebrate this trophy for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. No, I want improvement. I want to see better. Call me greedy. I want more. I mean, the question I'll ask people on here that I've asked other people, are you happy that we won a cup? I'm happy. Over the moon bit. Happy as a pig in shit. But am I satisfied? No. Far from it. Because I want more. And the thing I'm really struggling with on here to get this, and this is where I'm going to need a couple of people to either put me right, is it's just made my opinions change on a lot of things. Like these protests. What a load of bullshit. What a load of crap. Because there's people there screaming for Levy out because he doesn't ever do what is right for the football club. He only ever wants money. He only ever does do this. Now, I agree with that. Yeah, I'm one of the ones who'll back that. But then all of a sudden, people were all of a sudden turning around saying, well, morally, Ange has earned another 6 months because he got us our first cup in 17 years. So you're now asking Levy to do what is morally correct, but not correct for the club. Now, to me, that just makes the protests and people who preach that bullshit. The ones that have turned to Ange over morals. What load of crap. So you're complaining about this man for how many years to do correct for the club, the football side of it. But all of a sudden you've changed it. Oh, yeah, but come on, be morally correct here. So you're not even asking Levy to do what is best for the club. And what is best for this club, in my opinion, I know others will have different opinions, is the fact that we got a cup, we struggled our way into it, we won it, well done on the manager, but over the past 19 months, you have proved you are not good enough for that Premier League. Some people are happy with 17th and a cup. Okay, you can let it go for a season. Others say they'd be quite happy to do that practically every season. No, fuck that. Not a chance. Why can't we have it both ways? Why has it got to be one way, one or the other? We're meant to be one of the top 7 or 8 biggest clubs in the world, money-wise, structure-wise, whatever. And people are always complaining that Levy ain't doing right for the club. Now you're asking him to do. Now people are asking him to do what is morally correct. And I'm sorry, in this side of life, when it comes to business, when it comes to getting places and that, when it comes to going somewhere in your life, again, just looking at it different from others. Maybe some agree. There's going to be the others that don't agree. It's a dog-eat-dog world. You don't get to the top through being nice. No other big team has done it. No other big team would put up with this bullshit. But at Tottenham, we do. This is what I mean by the Spursy name will never fucking die. Because even though there's teams out there, especially at Arsenal lot, that are extremely fucking pissed off with the fact that we've just gone and finished 17th and won a cup and got in the Champions League. I mean, only Spurs could do it that Spursy way. The fact if we don't get rid of this man, and then it's only going to take about 5 or 6 games if you don't get it right next season, that these people who were saying morally correctly give him another time, that are going to turn on him. Same as a lot of other people. And that is where literally every other club is just going to sit back and just, you know what, you Spursy pricks. It's what you are, and you're accepting it. We've got a taste for blood now. We've got a cup. Now, shouldn't we be looking to improve? Fuck morals. I don't care about morals. I don't care about offending people just out of morals. I don't care about what is right and what is wrong in life when I'm looking to get to the top through business or sport. Because again, for me, it's just not how it's done. But I suppose it's each their own. It's something I need to get my head around this, because it's just making a lot of things to me that the fact that this fan base in general is so fragile and so easy to make happy or unhappy just about says it all. And how the hell can you sit there for how long being me being one of them, like leave out this and that, we want what is best for the club, and then fucking bring moles into it? Different people got their own ways. Different people, different ways. So I'm going to say hello to a few people on the side. And Tony, how you doing, mate? Big up, Dan. Yes, and the chat. Ange out. Totally with you on that one, mate. Tom, big up to you. We should all be happy about the Europa League, but let's put feelings aside. That was embarrassing. Ange out. This is where, at times, you have to cut feelings off. This is where, at times, you have to make the right decision for what is best for you, or what is best for your club, or what is best for your business. Sometimes you have to cut your feelings and morals off. what is politically correct, what is morally correct, and whatever else. But again, that's just the way I look at it. But all of a sudden, we get a cup. And the season means nothing. The past 19 months mean nothing. The fact that Ange has been a fucking manager that basically accepted in December that he blew the league. Yet the amount of people I preach on me about here that every game matters, no one should ever do that. But oh no, he won a cup, so it's all right now. It's, you know, it's forgivable. Talk about contradict your fucking self just a little bit. And Marianne, big up Dan and the chat. Another embarrassing result. Ange out. Totally agree with you. And Dot Talk, how we doing, mate? But then Dano, dog shit display second half. Absolutely shocking display on the second half. I mean, Sue Smith, hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling a bit better. Back to business, Dan. Bloody awful. And we were embarrassing today. Do you really want Ange in? Do I? Hell. No, I don't. I'm sorry. It takes more than 90 minutes to change my mind. It takes more than a cup, even if we finish 17th, to change my mind. Why can't we be in, with the team that we got now, fighting for a top 7 place and also go and do that cup or a League Cup or an FA Cup? Why? Why has it got to be one or the other? Am I really now that much of a bad fan because I'm sitting here and saying, right, I've loved the cup, I've enjoyed it, it's done, it's dusted, that's history now, just like the league. You can't change that. Not that I'd want to change winning the cup, but you've now got to look ahead for things. You've now got to look ahead to the future. Surely you've got to want to improve. And I hope I'm wrong on this, like a few people do. But he has done nothing to prove to me that he has got the quality to be a Premier League manager that will take Tottenham further. Maybe some people think he does, but I haven't seen anything yet to justify it. And today, yes, everyone was going to pissed up. The game was irrelevant. They probably all had a hangover and everything. I get that. But it was only the other week I had people preaching to me that every game matters no matter what. So make your minds up, people. Are you now going to make excuses or just be accepting? Or do we just live on this for the next 5-6 years that we managed to get a cup and then just basically get held back in mediocrity again? This is where I'm really struggling with some of these opinions. And Lee Davis, big up Dan in the chat. Horrendous league season. Wise, but fuck me. I'm absolutely elated over the cup win. Much love. Same to you. And I feel the same. But again, like I just said, the cup is done and dusted. It's over. It's finished. We've won it. It's done. I now look ahead for things. I'm sorry. I don't dwell on the good or the bad things or whatever. I use them to go forward. We should be using this cup to go forward. Why do I always pick out the negative parts in games and everything? Why? Because to improve in life, improve in sport, improve in anything, for me, you have to pick on the negative sides. You have to fix the problems. You have to see the problem to then admit there's a problem, to then fix the problem. That's just the way I look on things. But it just seems like so many people have all of a sudden just gone, ignorance is bliss, I think is the phrase to use. And Sue, thank you for the cup, Ange, but adios all the same time. I totally agree with you. And I knew what you meant, Sue. And Cold Shot. We say we're a big club, but don't want to act like it. Sack this clown. Thank you for the trophy, but bro, this is not your level. Getting out coached twice by a 32-year-old is crazy. Savvy, please come on. Exactly. Some of it, I'm really struggling with this. And Philly 2199, big up Danny and everyone in the chat. Have a great evening. I'm not staying before I say something I regret to say. Everyone can have a great evening. Much love. Say what you want to say, mate. That's what I do. I don't hold it back for no one. I'll say what I feel. If I offend someone, that's your problem, not mine. If you like me, fair play. If you don't, fuck off. That is my attitude in life. I know some people don't like it, but it's just the way I work, and we all work different ways. If you've got something to say, then say it. Don't hold it back. I mean, this is meant to be a freedom of speech, but you don't seem to be allowed to have that at Spurs, do you? Daryl Denton, if only trophies matter, just go to the cup games. Simple. Exactly. I totally agree with that as well. And Grumpy Steve, anyone see that massive boo Levy's got on the walk round? It's just on the live stream and the YouTube just after Ange hugs the legends. Levy's big face appeared on the big screens. Club may edit the video clips. Well, what's Levy done wrong? Levy's gone and basically done for me what everyone asked him to do. He went and got the attacking manager. I mean, if you call it attacking football, each to your own. But he went and got the attacking manager. And he went and gave him 400 million to spend. Gave him majority of players that he wanted. Stuck with him through thick and thin. Stuck with him up to the semi-finals and the finals and to the point where he won the cup with us. So Levy has just now gone and done what the fans have asked him to do. And again, like at the point I said at the very start, people still going on about Levy to do what is best for this football club and not is best for the business are now asking him to be morally correct and keep Ange here just. And I do say just because he got the cup. So we're willing to throw that next fucking season away out of morals. People are now asking Levy to do what is morally correct and not correct for football, is the way I'm seeing this. And this is why I will now say that anyone with that sort of attitude, to me, in my personal opinion, it just makes all that protesting bullshit. Every part of it, because it contradicts itself so much. Maybe I'm just seeing this too wrong. But what we're going to see at the next protests, how many people were really at these protests talking about Levy out, change for the club? How many there were more there because we were 17th in the league or 16th at the time or whatever and wanted Ange out at the time? And now all of a sudden, over a matter that he's won us the cup, brilliant, everything's changed. I think this is where you're going to see at these protests how plastic and weak this club really is. Because all of a sudden, I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But again, it's opinion. I don't think you're going to see 2,500, 3,000 people turn up there all of a sudden wanting Levy out anymore. You still get a few there, but you ain't seeing that many. Not in my opinion. Because that is how easily satisfied this fan base is at Tottenham. And people say we've killed the name Spursy. Fuck right off. Mud sticks. Mud don't ever come off your back whether you like it or not, yeah? Accept it. It is what it is. If the only examples I can get, I'm not going to go against that one. No. But the mud will always stick. Every time we do something wrong, the word Spursy will always be brought up. Even if we win a title for the next 3, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, we will never ever lose that name Spursy because we got it and mud sticks. But through the situation we've now got ourselves in, where we can improve, we can attract a better manager because we're in the Champions League, who can then also help us attract better players, more money to spend if Levy is willing to do what is right for the club and not morally correct for the fucking club. We can actually go somewhere now. But again, no, people just want to sit back and all of a sudden be morally correct when they've been ripping the shit out of this fella for the past fucking, what, how many months now? Either way, so if it's going to be like that and people are going to be like that, then I've lost my Levy out. I don't get it. What is he actually meant to do here now? I don't really get the Levy in, Levy out anymore. You're asking him to do one thing, but then justifying it on another side. I don't know if I'm Levy out or Levy in or Levy out anymore. I might even just be Levy in for the sake of it. And Daryl, why waste thousands of pounds every season going to games, buying players, etc.? It's all cop out, in my honest opinion. I'm with you on this one, mate, 100%. And also saying many a shit team win cups. It's never a true reflection. Also, no manager plans on their cup runs ever. Well, this one did. And also, Cold shot at Grumpy Steve. I saw when we were 4-1 down, they put the camera at his face and he looked pissed, like, just sack him. What are you waiting for? Where is my Levy of 2019? Exactly. You want Levy that he's now going to do something right for the club, not something that is morally correct for Ange, for people's morals, for people's standards, whatever. Well, standards is a different thing with this, yeah? Obviously, if we're just happy we're winning that cup now and then willing to destroy another season, let him spunk another 200 million up the wall and probably screw it up in the process. Where's your standards? What is wrong with wanting more? What is wrong with wanting better? Again, maybe I'm just greedy. And Daryl, remember shit Greece winning Euros? They never did anything after. One example. Spot on, mate. Scott M, Ange all day, every day. I'm with you on that one. Grumpy Steve, links to the moment. He appears on the screen. And Capone 79, fans must pay to watch that. Embarrassing. Exactly. The Boonverse, flip flop FC. 100%, mate. And Capone also saying, I hope the comedy show ends and cancels in season 3. Yeah. Let's just hope it don't get that far because Levy has got a serious decision to make. Serious decision. And Daryl Denton, some of it great timing and luck. If you can't be good, be lucky. At times in life, you need luck as well. You can't go through life, through sport without having that bit of luck in your life. We all need it. And Spurs just don't seem to get it. Maybe this was our time that we actually got it. So let's build on it. Let's make something out of it. Let's do something with it. Not just sit back and basically make this whole season correct. We have got a lot to fucking fix at Tottenham. And I'm sorry, I just can't put that behind me that quickly. I can forget about it for 2 or 3 days. But I'm already looking, I want future. I want better. And Top G14, do these idiot fans not realise that we are only about 5 or 7 players that are fit for the Champions League level? That's what I asked yesterday. Fair point, mate. And 6 or 8 level football that are rest of fucking shambles, and some of them aren't even. Again, it's another one where I don't feel we're as bad as it is. It's the way we are actually played that does it no favours. But when it comes down to the crunch, that team in a Champions League game, seriously, unless we make some serious transfers and an improvement in a manager, we are going to get absolutely destroyed out there in that Champions League. I mean, we're not going to win it anyway. I know that, yeah? But you don't want to go in it just being a number. But in a way, you are just a number because there's certain teams that you know are definitely significantly higher. But if we go in there with this mentality, with this manager, well, then you better be happy with getting knocked out early. Can you imagine playing the football he's played all season, one or the other, when he has done the other? If he tries that Europa Cup trick, basically, against a team like Juventus, Inter Milan, against a team like Munich, against a team like Real Madrid even, or Barcelona, or Atletico Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, we would get absolutely shafted. But then if we go and play his other way, we'd still get just as shafted and be walking off that pitch like fucking John Wayne. This is where surely we want to improve now on a chance that we've given ourselves. And Top G14 also saying, what is it? Top 15, 20 level, but top 5 championship level. Yeah, I get what you mean. So I can see there's a few people that want to make their point on there. I'll put the link on there as I do. Anyone want to come on and say your piece on this, on what you think of the season now and what we got to do? Feel free through it. I've just had my rant for 20 minutes, half hour. So the link's on there. And yeah, if anyone can come on and give me a solid reason on why I'm being too negative on that, or why we should actually keep this manager and justify it. Fuck your morals. I don't care about your morals. Justify this to me on the business side. Justify me this on what is right. This club. I don't want to hear your morals. I don't want to hear about what should be and shouldn't be and everything. What does a real big club do here? So I've got two guests jump on straight away. Going to say hello to both of you. Here we go. Ryan, Teslim, how we doing?
Not too bad, man. I'm just fuming. I'm fuming at the moment, the way that everything's going on, to be honest. I agree with you, right? And stop me at any point if I'm a bit too far out of line, please, Dan, yeah? Because I'm fuming, and I can run away sometimes a bit too much. First of all, I agree with you. Fuck the moral side of things in sport because it's absolute bullcrap, right? There's morals in life, but not in sport. We will get eaten alive if we keep this trash manager any longer because we will get relegated next year. And I'm getting sick and tired of everyone saying, oh, we'll give Ange 6 months. No, let's get rid of this absolute fraud now, please.
So why are people now turning onto the moral side of things then?
Because they think that having it for 90 minutes of winning a Europa League, that it's all hunky-dory again. It's not hunky-dory. It is absolute bullshit. 90 minutes and winning a trophy after 90 minutes does not get you into my good books, or it shouldn't get it into any of this fan base's good books after a shit season that we've had. We've finished 17th. Yeah, sorry, go on.
That's all right, mate. Go on, let him finish. Let him finish his bit, and then you can come in and say everything you want to say.
Okay. Yeah, and like literally, yeah, right. If we have another I've already said this today, right? If we have this manager in next season, I'm gonna be done with literally watching. We might as well kiss goodbye the league already before the season even starts. Simple as.
Mm.
Okay, I'm finished.
Well, I can agree with that. Teslim, how are we doing, mate?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
Same Spurs, different day. Go on.
Okay, so I actually disagree with you. And I'm going to explain why.
Go for it.
So let's go back to last season. And I think I can see things a bit clearer now because I had to detach myself from Spurs and be less emotional. So
you need to turn your mic up a little bit. You're echoing a little bit. Turn your mic up a little bit or get closer to the screen. That's not a problem. I mean, that's what I want. I want people on here. Yep, that's a bit clearer, mate.
Okay. Okay, so I can like look at things objectively speaking now because I feel like I need to detach myself from like emotions and look at things objectively. Because I mean, we all care about the club, and sometimes you can get like clouded by your emotions. So now let's go back to last season. I remember last season, at the end of last season, lots of times in press conferences, Ange came out and was talking about how we need to improve the attack. We need to improve the attack. And there was a reason why last season all summer we're talking about players like Desiree Doué, Ebere Chieze, Yohan Bakayoko. It wasn't just out of like, oh, these are the players we want. No, it was because the manager came out severally talking about how he wanted to improve the attack. We knew that Richarlison wasn't good enough. At the end of last season, we knew that this role didn't fit Son. We knew that Brennan Johnson wasn't good enough for this team. We all accepted that at the end of last summer.
I still
and then
accept it
went
now.
into the summer. Exactly. And then went into the summer. And this manager, even though he comes out, because like I said, I always say this to people, this is his biggest job ever in his life. He's probably getting more money than he has ever gotten in his life. This is he's in the Premier League. Like this is the biggest he has ever been. He won't come out and tell people, oh, Brennan Johnson is not my sign. He wouldn't come out and tell you, Odebe is not my sign.
Of course he's not going to do that. Most players don't do
Exactly.
that.
Exactly. So now, this manager spoke about this attack and how we needed to improve the attack. No problem. We go into the summer. We get him Shalanke. No problem. Number 9. He needs a winger. We're linked to Eze. We're linked to do it. What do we get him? Odebe from relegated Bonnie. That's all. We don't add any other addition to the attack. Then we get players like Achigure and Co. These players are not ready to play for Tottenham Hotspur. The only first team addition that we
No,
made
but
this
hang on.
season,
Let me just stop you there a second, Joe. But the majority of the fan base justified it at the start.
I didn't justify it, and majority of the fan
I
base.
said
We're
the
not talking about
majority.
majority of the fan base. We're not talking about them now. We're talking about Ange. We're talking about Ange, yeah. And why, like, I'm a bit like. So basically, we got Shala and Kane now, and that was the only first team addition. Now this season, last season, the first half of last season, first 10 games were good. Then we had the injuries. Then we're awful for the second half. But because of we had a very good first half, it was all hidden. And then we bought to top four. But nobody really wants to talk about that. They say, oh, fifth without Hurricane, it was a good season. It wasn't. We bought to top four. But anyways, we move on to this season. Son, who bailed us out majority of last season, this season was having regressed. This season regressed. Maybe
He's going to
whatever.
regress because of his age.
Exactly,
The way
exactly.
he
That's
plays,
it.
he relies on his pace.
Yeah.
He's going to regress. Some we should have sold him 2 years ago if we was a big club.
I agree.
But
with you.
again,
So
now we go to the fan base being morally correct. But he's done this and this for us for the past 10 years or
I'm going to
whatever.
get
And
to
that
that. I'm
we
going to
should
get to
keep
that.
him in
Oh,
contract
sorry.
and whatever.
Okay, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. But Son regressed this season. So Son was bailing us out last season in lots of games. But then this season, he regressed. So even as we didn't add to the first team, now we have Son, a player that finished with the most goals last season, regressing, which means we've gotten weaker again. So this summer now, we're coming into this summer. His whole philosophy is to outscore teams. In order to outscore teams, you need good attackers. I genuinely don't think that
you need a good squad, basically, and you need to rotate. And that is what he did not do for about 15 games and destroyed some of the players in the process for the season. And does anybody actually think if this manager would have been more clued up upstairs, he would have realised that he had to do rotation since he was in the league on 4 cups?
Yes.
3 cups.
Yes, Dan. I believe, yes.
Isn't that what a real manager does?
Yes.
I do think
Play
that
with
he
the
should
cards
have
he's
made
got.
rotations. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that he should have made rotations. But if we're being objective, our attackers are no good enough. Who do you want to bring on? Telford, Odebe, Vanna. What do you want to bring on? What? What are you bringing on? Son, that I said was our best player. Look at how he's been playing. Richarlison. Are those the players you want to bring on? Are those the players you want to be rotating? It doesn't make much of a difference, if I'm being honest. So I feel like until this man actually gets like proper backing and gets attackers, we can't exactly like say if he's good enough or not, because it's the same thing. Like under Conte now, we're playing a pragmatic system. We needed good centre backs. You got in the likes of Longley, Sanchez, Dyer. Now we have an attacking manager who wants to outscore teams. You give him Romero, Van de Ven, Dazu, Dragici. Then you give him attackers like Matheus Tel, Odebe. How?
But then
How do you
we
want
give him
it
a
to work?
defense. We give him a defense and a squad that is literally bar Harry Kane and Son, tenfold better than what Conte had, and he goes and concedes more goals. And he goes and finishes 17th in the fucking league.
All I'm going to say is like the whole system and the whole ideology of Ange. And don't get it twisted. I am very against this manager, but I'm willing to like take away my what do they call it? My emotions from everything and look at things objectively, look at the facts. He did talk about this attack, and once again, he's talking about needing experienced players. Once again, he's talking about it.
Would you say
And
the attack's been a problem this year?
I think it has.
You think it has? The fact
think
that
it
we
has.
was in 17th up until about 4 games ago with a +10. Scoring goals ain't been our issue.
I think
It's
it's
letting in
because of the
goals that is
system
our
that we're
problem.
scoring goals. I think it's because of the system we're scoring goals.
Right.
Like I said,
That's
the
good.
whole
But
thing
then
is
you
to
can't
outscore your
you can't afford to go and concede. How many we conceded now this season? 63, 64?
Something like that.
That's worse than Conte when he had fucking Dyer and Sanchez and Longley.
Yeah, but Conte
And
played a
Emerson
pragmatic
Royale.
system. Conte played pragmatic. He's playing attacking. He's going all guns blazing. Conte, the whole idea was to defend, and we considered 62 goals.
With the terrible defense we had.
Yeah, but like you,
and he conceded less goals than Ange did this year, and he got us in fourth place with a worse team. Okay, there's no cup to show for it. I get this is what people are going to dwell on and live on. Yeah, again, I'm over the moon with the cup, but I'm sorry, that cup does not justify this manager's incapability through the entire season and past 18 months. I mean, one thing they say, what would you say is one of the best things you learn from in life? Opinion.
What did you say?
What is one of the best things you learn from in life? Football, life in
Lessons.
general. What is one thing that makes you learn?
Lesson.
Yeah.
A lesson.
Yeah. What is the
Like
lesson?
Experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bad
Failure.
experiences.
Failure is one of the best things to make you learn. Why? Because you failed at it. You now assess it. You see what the problem is, and you now fix your problems. Yeah. Right. Well, Ange still weren't doing that. He only ever seemed to get his act together or be willing to change his stubbornness when it was basically his job on the line. And yeah, I'm grateful, and I will be for a very long time, that he got us that cup. But I am not. Do you want Tottenham to go further now? Should we be sitting here just enjoying this cup for the next 3 months, 3 years, 6 years, whatever it is? Or do we sit here and say, right, the season's done and dusted, we can't change that? For me, the cup is done and dusted. We've won it. It's over. Now we've got to look ahead. Now we've got to progress. We keep talking about being this big team and everything. And people keep, like I said at the very start, and I'll say it to you, going on about Daniel Levy, how he does nothing correct for the football, everything for the business and that. But now people are asking him to be fucking morally correct to hang on to Ange because he morally deserves another 6 months. Now, if I'm going to go by morals, yes, he does. Fair play, man. You got us that 17th, whatever. Morals, yeah, fuck morals. I ain't a morally correct person when it comes to this sort of thing. Emotions, I haven't got them in that sort of thing. If you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're not, you're not. If you've been here 10 years and been great, and all of a sudden you're not good enough, baked potato, see you later, you're gone. I want improvement all the time. This manager has showed his incapability of being able to do anything in this league. So
Dan,
what do you think we should do now? What do you think we should do now? Do we now look ahead and say, right, the manager got us the cup, but he definitely ain't good enough for the league. We want to make progress overall. So what should be the right thing to do for the club? Not morally correct.
Can I ask a question, right? Sorry, I'm just coming in.
How you doing anyway? Lovely to hear from you anyway.
Just about got my voice back. Just about got my voice back after being at the game on Wednesday at the stadium and then going to the parade. So yeah, if I lose my voice a bit, I'm still a bit croaky at times. Yeah, basically what I would say is, would you say that Pochettino progressed us? Like, I know what people are going to probably say and say yes, but to me, when we were third, fourth, finishing second, third, fourth, everybody kept saying, well, that's not a trophy and you need to win that trophy. And I know what you're saying about competing in both, but if you look at Pochettino's record, the only time he actually was competitive in both was when we was in the Champions League final. That's the only time we was in a final with Pochettino and got fourth place. If you look at it, I looked at the fact. So people who say that about Poch, that's not true. That's factually incorrect. We were going out in fifth rounds, in fourth rounds of cups. We weren't in cups. So the fact is that we've never really competed on both fronts, only once with Poch. And I think that, so when we was with Conte, we didn't. When we had Jose, we didn't, because we got kicked out of the Europa League and the Conference League with a manager that was in prison. So I know what everybody's saying, but historically, we're a cup team. Historically, we haven't been that team that competes for the league.
Right.
So if you can't win the league, I'm just like, do you know what? I want to go back to being, if I want to be a cup team, I'd rather be a cup team and not finish 17th. I think that was an anomaly this year. but I think progression would be continuously winning cups, because the whole point is to win trophies. The whole point of the whole thing is to win trophies. It doesn't matter what trophies. When Man City were first winning, they won the League Cup several times. They didn't care. They won the League Cup several times. So I think like we were
There's
never
nothing
that
wrong with winning the
team.
cups. We've always been a cup club. I know that. Yeah, I'm not
that's
disputing
right.
that. But this season has been the biggest fuck up of all fuck ups.
I get
Yet
that.
somehow we have managed to scrimp and scrape our way out of this, by winning that Europa Cup, which, if I'm going to be deadly honest, pretty much any bang average manager should have been able to do with that Spurs team, bar maybe the game against Frankfurt. And we had already cooked Man U 3 times this year, who are just as shit as us, So again, but he got the job done. He got it over the line. So we'll get my credit where I feel his credit is due.
And don't forget, Conte, Jose, and Pochettino, none of them managed to do that. That's the other thing. None of them. It doesn't matter what you say. Conte, when he left, he didn't leave us in 4th place. That's false as well, because although he did, the other teams around us had games in hand. Once they had their games in hand,
in 4th place.
but once we had our games, but it was a false 4th, because the other teams hadn't played as many games then. So once they played all their games,
they were going to win or lose, Mia. So
but when they did, but when they did, we went down the table, because once everyone caught up and played the same amount of games, you've got to do it by the amount of games. Otherwise, that's just unfair. We could say that we're this place, but the other team have got 4 games like around us. Each team's got 3 or 4 games. Like, that's a false equivalent, and it's not like the right way to look at it.
I can see where you're coming from.
So what I'm trying to say is that most other managers haven't managed to do it, and I do honestly think last season he got us 5th. I don't think that was something that was like crazy to say that he got us 5th. If he got us 5th or 6th next season and back in a final of a cup, I would be happy with that. That to me is progression. 8th, even 8th.
Agree.
Like, I wouldn't want to be 17th. Please don't get it wrong, because people might think, oh, I'm happy with 17th. I'm not. But I don't think this season was a season that I think that it was an anomaly. I don't think it will happen again.
Okay. Yeah, and it definitely ain't going to happen again that we finish 17th and win a fucking cup either. And with that, I mean, it's now like what Daniel Taylor said near 35 losses in our last 66 games. Over 10 home defeats this year, if I'm correct. And along with the 12 or 13 away defeats now and everything else. Do you think, I mean, Mia, what I'll ask you here, do you think every game counts? I mean, obviously there's some times where I'm a firm believer of in the last 2 games before that Europa final were pretty irrelevant, because it was make or break on that final, so you got to focus on certain games. But should you be out there to win every game you can? This is what people keep preaching at me, by the way, when I said those last 2 games were irrelevant.
Oh yeah, I agreed with you with the last 2 games were irrelevant, to be honest with you, because I knew that we were putting all our eggs in that basket. It's a difficult one, Dan, because when we played in the Premier League and we was in the Champions League final, we started to drop off in our form a little bit, because we did actually probably put all our eggs in that basket. The same thing when you look, and I think a lot of managers will probably do that and think like that. If you can't win the actual like Prem, then if you're in a chance to actually win a trophy, then of course you're going to put your eggs in that basket. So the other games that around that you've got are probably less relevant, because I know you want to win every game, but let's think about it. If you're going to win every game and risk your team, why would you do that? If you're going to have a final, you don't want to risk a team and getting injuries.
I can totally understand, that I can justify. That was why I said, but on the other side of it, Ange blatantly admitted that the games were pretty much irrelevant from December in the league. I mean, and Jacob, fair enough, you got a point to make. Links up there, mate. Do feel free to come on. You know we can always have a chat, and you know we always do keep it civil. So if you've got a point to make, mate, feel free and jump on. So the fact that the manager blew it out in December because he made such a fuck up of not rotating players and everything and being so stuck in his way, is that the sort of manager you want?
Dan, can I say something?
Go on.
Okay, so I think, like I said, context needs to be looked at. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't like this manager. I don't. He has come out and said a lot of outrageous things. Coming out saying, don't you want to be entertained? This, that, and all the absurd things he has come out and said. Flip-flopping. 1 minute is all about entertainment. The next minute he wants to win. After the final, they're asking you why you didn't play handball. You said you want to win. Flip-flopping. And he did that after the West Ham game last season as well. So lots of rubbish, he says. Lots of rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
But all I'm going to say is we need to look at the context and actually give this guy an actual chance. Because think about even last season. Now, the person that spoke about 35 league defeats, out of the 35 league defeats, I'm guessing, or 35 defeats, I'm guessing the 22 are from this season. 22 out of those 35 are from this season. So that's about that, which is an absolute, God willing, a one-off. But anyways, back to last season. If you look at last season, yeah, we lost Harry Kane. We lost Harry Kane. And
he never lost Harry Kane because he never had Harry Kane.
No problem. I said we as a team lost Harry Kane. We lost Harry Kane. So we lost Harry Kane. And that was Kane leaving. Now, when you lose Kane, you have to replace him with quality. What do you replace him with? Everybody here is going to accept that the people that we bought are not good enough for this club. And maybe to a certain degree, the manager has to blame for that. But this is not the first time that we're seeing this happen at this football club.
But fella, most of the fans justify it. A majority of fans justified fucking Archie Gray. A 40 million waste of money, in my opinion, that could have gone. I mean, he could turn out good. I don't think he's terrible. But a 40 million spunk up the wall of money that could have been spent on several players that quite a few of us have been through and looked at, on less wages as well, who would have got into that first 11. But people justify it. Now, Bergville a bit different, yeah? 12 million, okay, let's see how it works. He got himself in there, yeah? We all know Archie Gray only ever saw the bloody pitch because there was fucking injuries. Simple as that. He wouldn't have seen the pitch otherwise, bar a game or here or there, not the amount he did. Other players that we went and got, people justify it. Oh, Solanke, that's it. Bang on, Solanke. Perfect for Ange's style. Yeah, he's really looked like a 65 million pound player as well, hasn't he? Oh, no, tell he's outstanding. He's quality. He's going to do what we need. Yeah, we go and get another kid. Yeah? But fans justify this. Majority of fans justify this. They accept this mediocre crap. Right, the question I'll ask all three of you then. Do you think, if we hang on to Ange, do you think that he can take us further as a club? And what I mean by further as a club is get us significantly higher in the league and also fighting for a cup. I'm not saying we're going to fight for that title, but people keep telling me every game matters. I know, yeah? Do you think he can actually take us places? Or do you think this whole season is just like, he won't finish 17th, but he ain't going to do a cup again, whatever, and that, and we're just going to hover around 10th or 12th? Because one thing, time waits for no man. So what do? Morally stick with him for the next 6 months and it all goes up to shit and like we're all pretty sure it might do, hopefully wrong. And then that's another season wasted. Then we're nearly 2 years behind everybody else. And then we are really fucked. Do any of you three think that this man can genuinely take us further? Or are too many people Dan, living on moles here?
No, Dan, right? I think we need to get rid of him now, right? Because I don't trust he'll even spend the money. He'll do what you said and he'll spunk the money. Literally. So I don't think he'll progress us in any way, shape, or form. I honestly think if we don't get rid of him, he'll play the same football as he played all year this year in the league, and we'll be in danger. It won't even be in danger of getting relegated. We will be relegated. Ange out.
Go. I think that how do I put this into words? The question is, do I think he can improve us? And by that you mean doing well in the league as well as the cups, yeah?
Being able to be competitive, full stop, basically.
In both the league and the cup simultaneously. Okay, so I do think that like I said earlier, I don't know what to think because majority of this season, our attackers have not been good enough. The whole idea, the whole philosophy of Ange is to score your opponents.
Nor of the
So
yeah, and
if
I'm
it's
sorry.
not,
Go on, mate. Finish. Sorry.
go on. Okay. If he's not giving attackers that are good enough to outscore opponents, then please show him the door. But for him to have a realistic chance to say that yes, this guy was actually giving the goods and he is not good enough. We all understand what Ange Board. Okay, some people might not, but we all have an idea what it is. It is madness, going full throttle and going all out.
Ange Ball is basically you score 3, we score 4, yeah?
Exactly.
Name me in the past 30 years in any league where a club has done that. There's only one that I can think of really, and that's PSG but they don't play Ange Ball, but they can literally just walk the park basically. Or when you go to a place like bloody Scotland, Celtic, which is rated in the bottom, it is rated lower than 40 in the leagues in the world for a reason. Yeah. You can't do that in Serie A. You can't do that in English Premier League. You can't do that in Bundesliga. You can't do that in La Liga. So even if he gets the right players that he wants, I mean, to play Ange's system, you're going to need world-class players on that pitch. Come love nor money. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
exactly. So
shouldn't we then be just saying cutting our losses with him and getting a manager that can adapt and do better with what we've got? Mia?
It's really difficult because you can't predict exactly what's going to happen. We could use this season, or we could say we could have a season like last season where we finished 5th, but we didn't have Europe, and we didn't go in far in the cups. So you can't really predict it. But for me, I think we can reasonably go in like a league, be in the League Cup, FA Cup, and not really think about that too much about the Champions League, because I think that's probably going to be the most difficult one, and the Premier League, and I think that is viable. If we got an FA Cup final next season, I think that's good in it, because then we've gone into 2 finals in 2 years, and he has brought that, because the way I see it, right? Maybe I don't see it the way everyone else sees it, and people are going to say I'm soft. I'm aware of the fairies. I'm a happy clapper. But you know what? I'm past giving an absolute fuck about that anymore, right? I did YouTube for a long time, and I gave up with giving a fuck about anybody what they thought. But the fact is that he's brought a winning thing with these players, and you can see the way that they do love him, the way they brought out that poster saying I'll win in my 2nd season, mate. All of those things, they were posting it on their Instagrams and everything. So those players have got that thing for Ange, and if you take that away from them, the person who they trusted to win something, then I just feel like, is that a really good way to kind of behave? Because the players are going to be thinking, hold on, this guy won us something. We believed in him, and now you're sacking him. Like, I understand that you can get another manager in, but another manager hasn't brought him that feeling of believing and believing that they can get it over the line. Because he said, "I win in my 2nd season," and he did it. So I think that's something you've got to think of psychologically when it comes to the players, how they might psychologically view it if you got rid of Ange as well, and the effect it could obviously have on them.
So are you telling me that you think that he had that whole squad behind him for the season, basically? Or did they just have to play that final for themselves? Because I must admit, in a lot of games I looked at, they definitely weren't playing for themselves or the fucking manager.
I think sometimes, Dan, the players.
I don't think he'd lost the whole lot, by the way, Mia. Sorry. I think he'd lost half of the dressing room at least. Because even down to the point where you get Spence, who was our best player for 3 months, the second Udogie comes back, he gets dropped and Spence goes straight back in the team. How's any sort of second player going to have any morals with that?
But the fact is that when you look at the players when they're defending Ange, actually Spence was one of the ones who defended Ange. So, and then you see the way the players hug him, jumping all over him, and that the way that they hug him and that. I don't think they've lost him. Even James Maddison laughing with him, joking around with him, hugging him. People say that he don't like. No, you can see, man, it's not. If you've lost somebody, the body language says a lot. I feel.
Okay. I get you, but then Maddison also saying on the side, clear as day to Son, we play the same shit every game.
But that's what people want to read into the lip reading. We don't know that's an
That
actual
was what he said. Look, I can lip read like half sort of thing, yeah. I mean, he said it clear as fucking day on there, Mia. Come on.
I'm not, you can't say 100% facts because you don't, because people have never seen that thing where people lip read stuff that it looks like they're saying over what they're actually saying. So you don't know 1000%. You can't put your hand on your heart and swear your life on it because you don't know 100%.
I'll put a 95%. I'll put a £500 bet on here and now. That's what he said. Some things is very hard. We can't get facts. I agree with that part, yeah. But if we're going to be realistic, practically even people who don't know how to lip read could lip read what he said because it was clear as day.
Mia, to be fair, that's also what the whole fan base was saying at that point in time, that he doesn't change anything. So
I get that. Now, I do understand that. But what I'm trying to say is that people are reading into stuff and saying every little they're projecting a lot of their dislike for Ange and saying that the players are doing this and the players don't like him. But when you actually watch it factually, when you see them on the screen with him, the way they are with him, when I saw him on that bus with those players, it don't seem like to me that that's a manager that they can't bear, that they don't want to be in. And I've got a friend who's a Man U fan, and I asked him what were they like with Ten Hag when he won, and he said nothing like what your players have been with Ange. So he knew the difference. When it comes to Ten Hag, he was very cold with their players, and he didn't they didn't feel the same way. So I don't believe he's lost half of that dressing room. I don't believe that.
Fair enough.
I really don't.
That is total opinion. You're entitled to that, yeah. But then when I come and see them on a bus coming down the street and everything and that, because they've just won a cup, well, I'm pretty sure they're going to be happy no matter who they're standing there with, whether they like the manager or not. They still won the cup.
But that's not true. I just said to you about Ten Hag. I asked my friend.
I know, but I'm giving my opinion. It's an opinion.
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair.
But
it's just that I'll tell you what a lot of people do, Dan, right? A lot of people on this application decide to say things like it's a fact. And it's not. It's their opinion. They say, "Oh, he's lost the dressing room." That's not factually true.
I always say my opinion.
You do. You do. I know that you do. But I'm just saying, a lot of people say it like it's fact, and I like to just point out that it's my opinion that he hasn't lost any. It's your opinion that he has lost some. So none of us actually know what the actual facts are. I just saying from my point of view what I see. So that's only where I'm coming from. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying my opinion.
It's fair enough. I mean, we're all entitled to see things different here, yeah? Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you, Dan?
Same Spurs, different day?
Pretty much, even worse now, but that's okay. I was just going to come on. I just wanted to ask some people here when they keep talking about how he threw away the league. When did he start throwing away the league? Because we were terrible at the start of the year before Europa League even started. So did he throw away the season before we even started playing in the was it when we started the knockout phase? Because when we were in the knockout phase, we were already 13th place. So did he throw away the league when we were fighting against Feverbahce and
it was round about, I think he admitted it was round about December, Christmas time sort of thing, that he just knew the league weren't going anywhere and he focused on the Europa Cup, basically.
Pretty convenient for him to say that because our results in Europa Cup weren't very good after around December time. So seems like it's convenient that once our form started going bad, he used the Europa Cup as an excuse. Because if you look at the actual facts of when we played games and stuff like that, it doesn't match up. It doesn't make sense. It's an easy excuse to use. But it doesn't excuse why we were so bad before those games. Why in the semifinal against Liverpool, when we play the second leg, we were
Why
awful.
didn't we score the goal and shut up shop then?
Because of the
Why didn't we score the goal and shut up shop then? That would have been the most logical thing to do, wouldn't it?
What about throwing away what about focusing on the Europa League? Fair enough. Why did that force him to play the tactics that we've all seen don't work at all for him, and especially the players he then moved in to replace the other players? Like, this is where the whole he gave up on the league for Europa League argument falls apart for me. If it would have been that he changed the way we played, he was using lesser players, and we saw him adapt and have a system that those players were, and they just weren't good enough.
More rotation.
It would make sense to me. But there's no reason that he had to continue to use those tactics that we have seen for 2 years don't work in the Premier League. And he continued to do that. And that has nothing to do with us being in the Europa League at all.
I mean, do you then think, right, Mia, I'll ask you on this first, yeah? Do you now think with your heart and think with your head here, yeah? I mean, whatever you say is obviously down to you. It's your opinion. You're entitled to it, yeah? Do you think we should keep Ange morally? Or do you feel we should sack Ange and get a better manager in for what is better for the club? Now, because I think morally, we can all agree that, oh, come on, he's got us our first cup in 17 years. Even though we were absolutely shit in the league, whatever, total embarrassment nearly every game to watch, totally embarrassing that people had to pay for it. He still crossed that line that nobody else has managed to. So morally, I can agree with, I can understand why people will say there and say, give him another 3 months or 6 months. But then doing what is correct for the club, and we've already seen for nearly 20 months now that his way ain't going to wait. You cannot play you score 3, we score 4 in the Premier League. What do you think we should do with him? Do you think we should keep him through morally correct, or do you think we should actually keep him because he can take us places or keep us?
I would like to correct I'd like to correct your question, because what's right for the club in our opinion, because this is only what we think's right for the club, because what actually is right for the club could be keeping him, because as I just stated, the players, they've now got that winning thing inside of them that Ange has actually given them. And you say a better manager, now there's no other manager who's managed to do that with our club, with those players. So is it right for the club to keep him? Some people could argue that is the case. They could argue that because of those reasons, that is the case to actually keep him, not purely on morals, but actually on that good for the players and good for the club, because he's the one who's actually managed to do that for us.
Hold on, we're saying that we had the worst.
Yeah, hang on a sec, Scott. But he's probably the only one that has ever gone to that horrendous side of literally just throwing the league under the bus and focusing on a cup.
I do understand that. And I think that obviously when people go 20 months, people, instead of looking at the 2 seasons in isolation, people merge it together with the 2 worst parts and not include the first 10 games because it suits their moral.
No, the first 10 games gets included. You can include the first 10 games.
Okay, well, what I'm trying to say to you, I don't do that, Dan. I do it season by season, because merging it just makes things blurry. At the end of the day, last season, he still got us 5th. He still got us 5th, and those 10 games did not get us 5th. Factually, that was not the case, because that was not enough points to accumulate to get us to 5th. What got us 5th was actually we did win. I think we only lost 12 games last season, if you look. We didn't actually lose that many games. So you could say, like I said earlier, that season was an anomaly, or this season was an anomaly. We don't know yet, innit? We can't say for sure.
But one thing I think you can agree on, Mia, is that there was already people like me and a lot of other people shouting out like, mate, you've got to sort out, you're conceding too many goals through your zonal market, mate. You got to sort it out. This don't work.
But he did. But
and then he even got told about it on camera, gave a proper attitude with it. Basically, might as well have told the person to fuck off. And then all of a sudden he adapts it when we got 3 games left. Too little, too late. We should have had 4th place that season easy if he would have been willing again to adapt his ways.
I mean, Joe, what I'm going to say, this is going to sound a bit crazy, but we got 5th. We stopped Arsenal winning the trophy for the Premier League. We got into Europa League and then won in the Europa League to get back into the Champions League. So, I mean, yeah. But the thing is, we could have, shoulda, coulda, woulda, yeah. But we still got 5th, which was like, I feel like it wasn't the most awful season. This season was awful, and I'm not even going to sit here and try and justify that it was good. But
with what you've said, Mia, basically, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I can't argue that one, yeah. But what I'm going to say is what you're talking about, where we finished 5th, is irrelevant because you can't add the 2 seasons together. You said,
yeah, so no, that's right.
So that one is irrelevant. This one, we finished 17th with 22 defeats, conceding more goals than we did with Sanchez, Royale, and fucking Longley and that. And it wasn't even the problem of scoring goals. It was the fact of that we was just conceding goals all the time is what has done us this season good and proper, because we can't hold on to a lead, or we just can't go games without bloody conceding it. I just don't see where his tactics that he has shown can take us anywhere. So what do we do? What do you think is best for the club itself? People have gone on and on and on about Levy not doing what is right for the football side, only ever doing right is for the business side. But then most of these people that have been screaming Ange out because he's been such a shit manager for the past, let's say, 12 months then, this season, forget the first season, this season, yeah? All of a sudden, just because he wins a cup for us, all of a sudden, all of that gets forgotten, and you're asking Daniel Levy to now do what is morally correct. I think some people need to make their mind up. Or is Daniel Levy now is it starting to show that people just actually use him as a scapegoat? What do you want him to do? What is right for the club, the business, or what is morally correct?
I'll let someone else go because I've been talking a lot in it. So.
Oh, that's fine. Go on, Scott, whoever.
Somebody
okay. I mean, if he cared about the club, he would do what's best for the club. But we've seen this year he hasn't cared about that. He hasn't done what he normally does. He doesn't do what we needed. So it's hard to say what he'll do. It's usually, I think, Brian always says he knows how to read Levy, right? He knows how to, he knows what Levy's going to do. But this year, Levy hasn't been Levy. He's acted totally out of character. And I don't know if that's because of the money now that we're getting from the stadium, so he doesn't have to act like he did in the past, or what it is. But I think what we should all want, we've seen 2 seasons, and we can separate if you separate them, they're still 2 poor seasons. If you combine them, they're 2 poor seasons. We've seen that Ange isn't good enough. He has no clue how to operate in the Premier League at all. This winning mentality that he is supposedly instilled in us resulted in our most losses ever in our season, in a Premier League season. That doesn't seem like winning to me. When you have a winning mentality, you don't whine and cry about injuries. You have the winning mentality means that the next guy steps up and wins you games. That winning mentality doesn't have you throwing away the Premier League. A winning mentality, every single game matters, and you need to go out there and win. So I think what we've seen from him is, even though that we won this trophy, we don't have a winning mentality. We don't have any idea how to perform in the season. Palace just won the FA Cup. They could have celebrated. They haven't won a trophy in 127 years. And they didn't come out and give up the games. They came out and played well, and they were proud to perform strong and well. That's a winning mentality.
And then they hadn't even won a game before they played us.
Yeah, so I think it's clear. He should go. You can thank him for the cup if you want to thank him for the cup, but he's had 2 seasons.
He deserves it. He deserves the thank and the credit for the cup. Same as if he's going to get credit for the cup, it's like another thing I say as well. Then Levy gets the credit as well. Why do I say this? Why? Because I try and be a fair person looking at it from both sides. And as a lot of people were slating all season was obviously Ange, but the conversation always comes back to Levy. And it's Levy's fault because he employed Ange, fucking a whole lot of them and that. Well, hang on a sudden. We've just won a cup now. And if that's made everything all right, Levy was the one who employed all them to do that. So he deserves credit as well. I mean, Cold Shot, you just jumped on. How you doing?
Yo, I'm good. How are you, Dan?
Same Spurs, different day.
Yeah, I just have a question for everybody here. Are we a top club? Yes or no? Because top clubs don't act like this, right? I don't understand. Like, we consistently are so bad. We have 22 defeats in the season. Ange has no idea. I feel like he just doesn't understand how to tactically change in game. We already saw it with Brighton. Brighton only needed 45 minutes to change the whole entire game on us. And then we want him to keep going. What if we fail, right? What if we give this manager 200 million right in the summer and we fail, right? And it'll be a waste of a season. And I don't want that to happen again. The project could still continue without this manager. Why can't we go get Xavi Hernandez? Like, he's perfect. He's good with the youth. He said he wanted to coach in the Prem. Like, this is perfect. I want a quality manager that we could get now, We could offer them Champions League. We got offer them with wages. Like, I just don't understand this sentimental fact that Ange is like a messiah figure that, you know, you can't criticize him, or you guys or people want him to stay for the next season. This is crazy. I thought we're supposed to be a big club. Well, like, you know, thank you for winning the cup. Thank you. But you're just not good enough in the Prem. You've seen it.
I mean, would Chelsea put up with this?
No, they wouldn't.
Would Arsenal even put up with this? I know
Nope.
they're desperate to win a cup. They're in a different situation to what we are. Would Man City put up with this? Would Man U put up with this? They're only going to hang on to the man basically because he only joined halfway through the season. So that one I can give a bit of leeway to, basically, yeah. But in that aspect, look at all other bigger clubs in the world. Juventus, Inter Milan. Are any of them going to put up with this, finishing 17th and getting a cup?
But didn't Chelsea at one point finish quite low and win something? I think they're it's a different club, different things for different clubs, though, Dan. You've got to understand
that we're meant to be a big club. We're meant to be. This is what people keep telling me.
Big club in what sense? Because people say big club, they chuck that word out without any context of what they believe a big club is. Because let's get it right, yeah, we're not a massive club like a Man United, Liverpool. They're on a different level to us. Even Chelsea, Arsenal, we're not quite on that level either. We're the next level down, really, because when you think about them historically, like what they've won, etc. So when people say big club, you've got to put context of what you think's a big club, and what you think's a big club might be different to what I believe is a big club.
Well, we're fifth in the league of the amount of cups we've won, isn't it? Is it fifth or sixth? One or the other.
Top six. It's Man City's overtook us, isn't it? Man City's overtook us. We were ahead of them. I think we were sixth, weren't we? Fifth. Man City's overtook us.
We're in the bigger lot there. When it comes to people say that we don't act like a big club, even though we are a big club, because the money is there and the size of everything is there, and that Levy don't do his job properly because he only cares about the money is what has held us back, basically, yeah? But people are asking Levy to now do what is morally correct, and that is keep Ange. Not look out at what is best for the club. Now, I totally understand what you're saying, Mia. If you go by results and cups won and that, bar the one that just went, we are the biggest underachieving side in football. Basically, we are basically England. That is what Tottenham are. England are the biggest underachieving international side on the planet, and Tottenham, for the size of our club, are the most underachieving club in the world as well. So don't you think that at least are we bigger than Palace?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then why are we accepting 17th and a cup?
That's a good point. Like people always tell us, oh, we're big six. Like it's even in the media. So like everybody acknowledges that, you know, we're there. We should act like a big club. And
I agree with what Mia said, by the way. We're not as big as Liverpool, Man U, and whatever. And that
so you can't really compare. So we can't. What I'm trying to say is trying to compare us to those teams is like not exactly the best thing to compare to. That's what I would say.
But the point on a big club is someone that can hold its ground, basically, and not get embarrassed over 22 games in a season and scrape and scrimp its way through a fucking cup. We should at least be able to do what Palace done and finish 10th or 12th and get a cup. We should be able to fight for a top 6 and get a cup. Again, I love the fact that we got the cup, but that's done and dusted now. That's over for me. I want the future now. I want Spurs to improve. And am I willing to give next season up?
But as I stated earlier, factually, the only one that ever did that once was Pochettino. All the other times we had Poch, we actually went out of pretty much went out of the cups. We weren't really, and if we were, we was not really fight. We were in
that's done and dusted as well. That's over as well.
So what I'm trying to say to you is that what I'm saying is as a club that we've not really ever done both really historically much. Anyway, like people were saying we should be. Indeed, I get what you're saying because you feel like because we're that club, but the fact is that we've never really have done, and now obviously things are going to change. Why? Like I just think that people expect it to change, but when we've never really done that, not historically.
We've never been 17th in the league, though, have we? We've never been 17th in the league. That's the difference. We've been 8th, 9th, or 10th. We've never been 17th.
But we haven't won a European trophy in 40-something years either. So
yeah, I know. But we've not been 17th either.
But I get that. I'm not trying to justify the 17th. You don't need to shout it at me because I can hear you very clearly.
I don't think he's meaning to shout. It's the mic.
It's like, honestly, I understand that, but I feel like this season, I do feel like it's an anomaly. And we've won a massive cup, a bigger cup than when we won the League Cup in 2008. That was a cup, but this is historically a big cup that we have got history in Europe as well. So for us to win that is massive. And I understand everyone's thing about being 17th, but I feel like people aren't enjoying it because of that. In history books, I ain't going to tell my grandchildren that we were 17th. I'm going to tell them we won the European Cup, baby. I was there. And we were happy and winning it, man. And it feels like people are sucking the joy out of it a little bit because obviously this season has been pretty crappy for us. But we won a bloody cup, man. Like, I just feel like it's been a bit.
The question is more, where do we go now?
That's my thing.
Yeah. Where do we go now is the question. I've enjoyed it, maybe not as long as other people have, because I don't sit on things that long. When I get something good, I enjoy it for a couple of days and then I go for better. I want more. I want more money. I want more out of this. I want to live in a bigger place. I want to live in a better area. I want to do this. I don't just hold back because I've won a cup and justify things or whatever. I don't live in it. I always look to the next step to improve now, Mia. Now, I'm totally agreeing with what you're saying. To an extent, I think most of us can, do you know what? Fuck the season, put it aside basically, and start again as such. Because that cup has saved our ass in a very big way, yeah? But by doing that, looking at the future, I'm also looking at whether we should keep this manager or not. Because that all comes into the context now that people keep using this word context all the time, of whether that is going to improve us or not by keeping the manager who has been pretty abysmal, or by keeping him through morals, or where do we need to go now to improve? And for me, we need better players and we need a better manager. Go on.
Yes.
I think we should do it, in the sense that, like, everybody, even the people that you're talking about morals and this and that, let's be real. Before this Europa League win, majority of the families wanted this manager out. And now, the only reason why people are saying he should stay is because we won the Europa League. I myself wanted him out. But then winning the Europa Cup has sort of made me calm down and try to give him a chance at the very least. This chance that we're giving him, I don't think is going to last more than 10 games. The moment the league season starts and things go south, believe me, everybody's going to say get this manager out. Because
then he's already going to have had the money to spend and everything else, and the fan base will turn on him that quick. So then why don't we get a new, better manager in there? Because I don't think there's many hard to find better than Ange, because I do think he's a fucking atrocious manager in literally every which way and scraped his way for a cup that Ryan Mason would have got to the semi-finals in, at least, in my opinion. And then we've basically blown the next season. Look at what happened to Man U. They kept a manager through morals. Yeah, and it has fucked them over in a big, big way. Ain't that a red flag to look and learn at?
All I'm going to say is, like, if you look at what Ange has done, because he has been very strategic. He's a very intelligent man. He has been very strategic since this cup win, because he has come out saying things like, oh, he wants to stay, he's not going to walk, the third season is always better than the second. So you can't even do something like, oh, it was mutually terminated. That doesn't exist because he's made it clear he wants to stay. So if he's mutually terminated, he was sacked. Do you get what I'm saying?
If he walks, he doesn't get his pay. So he's going to stay there until he gets the sack. That's what managers do.
So can I just ask them, right? And you said he's changed. Was it tactically?
Me, right?
Or something like that?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I said.
Did you say that he changed tactically? Did you say in the last couple of games?
In the Europa League, yes.
Right, but then why can't he do that then in the Premier League? Because he had the chance to, and this is what's really why I don't think that this is why I think we need to get rid of him, because he'll do the same tactics over and over again, the start of next season, and it will just be exactly the same again and again and again, and then we'll be calling for his head. And do you know what? I can't be dealing with another season of this. I really can't. So explain to me what he changed in the Europa League to what he's done in the Premier League.
I think it's been clear to all of us that he hasn't changed in the Premier League. Why that is, I do not know. I'm not in his head. But I know for a fact that this man was brought here to entertain us. And I don't think I'll be willing to watch what we're playing in the Europa League every week in the Premier League. So if that's what he's going to be doing in the Premier League, he may as well pack his things and leave.
So,
well, I personally
every game mattered. I thought every game mattered. I mean, surely 17th just shows he ain't got it in the league, and we just have to shake his hand and say thank you very much. There's another £2 million. We need now a manager who is more capable and more adjustable to get us to the standards where we should. I mean, where should we be in the Premier League? We should be in the top 6, shouldn't we? Top 7?
No, we should be top 5, challenging for the top 4 is where I think we should be. With a better manager, we would be.
We should be in the top 6. Why? Because we're a top 6 big enough club to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should be challenging for that place.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
We should also be challenging for cups as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I just cannot justify 17th.
This is based off what? Do you mean based off our status as a club or based on the players we have?
Both.
But you think Matistel, Odobe are good enough to be in the top? What would you say, 5, 6?
No, I would say they are. I'd say for the squad we've got, if he would have used his rotation smartly, we wouldn't have had the trouble we had.
Without a doubt.
He had exactly the same problem at Celtic, exactly the same injury issues, because he only does one thing with them on the training ground. He's so stubborn and stuck in his way, basically, that he only does it one way.
See, I think statually we should be. We haven't got the players to be where I'd like us to be, but that then comes on to the back of Daniel Levy, where he doesn't pay the wages and he doesn't want to spend the money. So statually, yes, personally, I think that's where we should be, right? On
so again, we go back to the Levy thing of we're always complaining and all the Levy outlot and protests and everything, always doing this because Levy don't do what is right for the club, for the football, because he don't care. Yeah. But now everyone's asking him to keep hold of a fucking manager that lost 22 games and finished 17th in the league.
I'm not though, Dan.
I'm saying that's what a lot of people are doing though. So to me, all this Levy out and protest now, I'll call it. This is bullshit to me.
Dan,
like Mark, what do you reckon on this?
Sorry.
Yeah, look, I just want Levy gone. Personally, I want Levy gone as quickly as possible.
What do you think on that?
Me? Well, recently we've just heard about the Eze rumours that apparently that Ange didn't want him.
Yeah.
So
months ago.
He wanted, Brendan Johnson, he wanted Don Solanke. These failed signings, some of them are his, I'm afraid. So he has to take some responsibility. He signed them off. He was happy with the squad. I'm sorry to say that's his fault. He should have wanted better players.
Right. And with all the Levy outlot and everything else going on about moaning that Levy doesn't do what is right for the football, basically, and only does it for the business, but now asking him to be morally correct and hold on to a manager that's lost over 25 games in the season, 22 in the fucking league, and got us in 17th. But just because he's won us a cup they're saying we should morally hang on to him. They're now asking Levy to not do what is right for the club. They're asking him to do what is morally correct now, which contradicts everything for me now for the Levy outlaw, or the ones that do that anyway. Not all of them, but a lot of them have gone from flip-flop to another. And to me, that just makes the Levy outlaw, that's bullshit now. Protest is bullshit.
Yeah, you got to be. It's either black or white for me with this one with Levy. You're either in or you're out. That's as I said, because if not, it just looks ridiculous. And same as these people who are flip flopping over one game. One game was one swallow doesn't make a summer for me, even though he won it. Fair enough, but I still want him out. There hasn't been enough for me progress of going upward trajectory to say we should keep this man for another year. And let him have the Champions League with his record at Celtic. No, thank you, not for me.
And with the football that we've even seen him play in the Europa Cup, he would get we would get destroyed.
Yeah,
in the Champions League with that. This is where I'm just struggling with it, on where I really don't understand how anyone can justify this just because we won a cup.
Well, I can't, Dan. I can't justify it in any way, shape, or form, mate. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Levy, but at the same time, I know it also needs to be kept on going on and on and on, because if we don't, Levy will get away with it and nothing's going to change. So even though we might,
but if Levy decides not to get rid of him again and do what the fans are asking, I would say majority, like he has done all season basically, and it don't go right and he has to sack him, well, I'm sorry, that's not Levy's fault then. If he's looking out for, if he's actually trying to do what the fans want him to do, and you can't blame him for that, then that's not Levy. Then that's more the fans, isn't it?
Yeah,
I know Levy's the one who makes the decision. Definitely. I know he's the one who makes the decision, but people are now asking him to do the total opposite on what they've been slamming him for 25 years.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that.
So to me, it makes it all bullshit then.
Yeah,
it's contradicting yourself. Practice what you fucking preach.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but at the same time, I think it all starts where Levy shouldn't have even appointed him in the first place. Honestly, I don't think they should have appointed him in the first place. I would have been happy with anybody else apart from Ange, because the minute I heard that Ange was from Celtic, I was like, here we go. It's going to be because what people I think where I can't say for sure, but this is what I think other people might have been thinking, because they saw what Alex Ferguson done from Aberdeen, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that I think that some people might have had that illusion that because Ferguson could do it, that Ange is going to do exactly the same thing. And to be honest, they're two different caliber of managers. One was one quite clearly it's shown that one's quite literally an absolute trash manager, and one is an absolute manager that knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's each their own at the end of the day what you want to accept. Some people have stated they will quite happily accept 17th, 16th and a trophy every year. No, I'm sorry. I can't accept that. I can't deal with that shit. I can't put up with that.
Then can I say something?
Go on.
Okay, so I think Mark, that's your name, yeah? Nice to meet you.
Hi, Bill. You all right?
I think you said something about how the signings he should have wanted for better players. This is not the first manager at Tottenhamhotspur that we're seeing that is not getting players that he wanted. You can't come here and tell me that Conte wanted Doherty. You can't come here and tell me that I said Conte, Josie. You can't come here and tell me that Conte wanted Longley and the likes of the players we got.
No,
you can't tell me.
Ange got back tenfold more than he has.
Yeah,
Ange got 400 million and got to pick a majority of his players.
Yeah, but how do we know?
Van der Ven, was that a good Van der Ven? Did he want Van der Ven?
But just because he wants, hold on a sec. Can we just establish something? Yeah, but it's different if you're offered a player and you say you want him to actually choosing the player. Did he choose Van der Ven? Is your question? Because I think the clubs say, "Do you want the player?" That's a different thing, Dan, than saying I choose to have that player.
Yes, he can still say yes or no,
yeah,
just
that's
like
correct.
Pot did and that. Right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Did he want Van der Ven?
We'll never know.
What do you think? Oh,
Well,
so now
he
you
did
step
say,
out of
to
it.
be fair,
Whereas
he
1
did say,
minute is when it's good,
no, that's what I want to
it's
say. To
Ange.
be fair,
When
he
it's
did say in
bad,
his press
it's
conference.
Levy.
He did say in his press conference that he signed Van de Ven, and he wasn't a bad player.
Johnson
Yeah.
and Solanke.
Can I just say something?
I know about. Go on.
Is this the same manager that also said that he would prefer personal character over pure technical qualities for his players? So
And also stated that I make my own leaders. I don't buy leaders, basically. Just a quick one. JSY, thanks a lot. It's much appreciated becoming a member. Go on, mate. Finish what you're saying. Sorry.
yeah, so exactly. So we know that Ange just doesn't know the difference between a quality player. I think he just likes people. I think that he likes to control his players who don't like to stand up to him. And that's why I just think I wouldn't trust him with another 200 million and then him getting like below average players. Then when we go into the Champions League, and we're not gonna win. We're not even gonna have a chance because of the quality that he's gonna say yes to. So I don't know. I think for one, I think Daniel Levy has taken a huge gamble on Ange and it has worked. I'm not willing to think that he's gonna take another huge gamble plus 200 million this summer, just for him to be like, oh, he might fix it. He might change something. I don't think Levy would do that. I just don't. I think when Fabio comes, I think Ange Postecoglou's gone. I think there has to be something else. There's no way they're gonna keep him for the Champions League.
No.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you lot think is going to happen then? The last thing I put it up on it, it's mainly been a rant I've had on here because I'm just sick and tired of seeing us playing shit and getting defeated game after game. What do you think should happen here? What should get done? What is right for the club?
Well, he goes, the sooner the better for me. The sooner the better. Get Glasner in, get him the money, get him the time. Don't wait too long. Get him in now.
Fair enough point.
Can I just re-establish something? So I saw some comments that were there saying I don't know the history of Tottenham, and I do know
Yes,
my
you
history about
do.
Tottenham.
I will back you up on that one.
And
Yes,
the fact
you do.
that I said about Chelsea was what I was trying to establish is how people see a big club, because historically Chelsea are not a big club. You're correct, but when it comes to trophies that they've now bought, may I just add, bought, not won.
Doesn't matter how they've done it. They've done it.
Exactly. They've done it. So therefore, if you're judging it on trophies, then they are a bigger club with trophies. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to say that Tottenham aren't a big club. I love my fucking club with all my heart, and I would never say we're not a big club. All those 200,000 plus people who are out on the street shows you we're a massive club. But the thing is people judge it differently, and that's all I was trying to establish with how people judge a big club. It wasn't about me
I got your point.
Disrespecting. No, it's just Dan, because some of the comments are trying to say that I'm trying to say that, but that wasn't me trying to say that at all.
And you know your history. When I first started YouTubing and that, I had done quite a lot with you at times and that. You know your shit. There's no two ways about it. I will back you on that 100%. So
what I think
where
should
do we
happen,
go now? What is right for the club? Forget the morals. What is right for the club now, do you think, for us to progress now?
I mean, again, it's a difficult one because what people see as progression is different, Dan. Like that people might say next season getting just Champions League's progression for them and being in a semi-final or whatever, but some people might not. So it depends on what people. Me personally, I feel like we should progress to get in the top 8 and be in a final and be really challenging for the League Cup and an
I can
FA
agree with
Cup.
that. Yep.
That would
but
be
do you think Ange has got the quality as a manager to do that?
Yeah, because he's shown in cups that he can do it. He's shown in cups that he's capable. Maybe not, and in the league he got 5th. So it's you can't say 100% that he won't get us 5th again or get us 8th again or get us 7th again. Because at the end of the day, none of that matters if you're not going to win the Premier League. All that is like being a certain place in the league. But if you get a cup again, he's then bringing winning mentality by getting us cups, which is the most important thing, is winning trophies. Because we all want trophies. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with that. I totally get where you're coming from.
But Dan, the AC Milans of the world, Juventus, the whatever, don't come 15th, 14th and win a trophy. That's not how it is. The Real Madrid, whoever, I'm saying the big clubs, we are a big club, a top 6 club, don't come 12th, 14th, 16th and win a trophy. That's just not, this is just a fluke season to happen. It doesn't happen.
But that's not what I was saying. And plus, if you want us to progress, do you think that being higher up in the league is progress and no trophy? Obviously, trophies are the ultimate thing to prove, because there's teams out there who do just win trophies. Who every year in Italy, there's what club is it, Dan? You know who they are. They don't. Isn't that Italy?
Bologna.
But they go for trophies, and they're not so like.
Yeah,
it's different.
That's the first one they've won in 50 years.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that there's teams that historically just go for, they know that the only way and they're really gonna do is win the trophy. So they go for that every year, and they don't really think about getting the league because they know it's nigh on impossible or so difficult to get to win the Premier League or like their version.
Yeah. Are you talking about people like Seville and Villarreal and people like that in Spain?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spain, maybe. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say, there is clubs that do that. So why would it be beyond belief that we could be more like that, if that makes sense? Where we know that the Prem. I'm not saying finish 7th. I'm not saying finishing 17th is. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if we finish 10th and won an FA Cup next year, I would be thinking, well, we've won 2 cups in 2 years.
I'll go with that one. And finishing 10th, it would still be a bit of a pain in the arse season. We should be doing better, but it would be acceptable. The other thing is with this cup that I find, is I'm personal opinion on this. I think a lot of people if this would have been the League Cup we won and finished 17th, would you be justifying it? I think because it's the Europa Cup we won, which isn't the biggest cup out there, but the second biggest cup in Europe, still a big cup, whatever, and that, got us in the Champions League and rescued the season. This is where I think people are correcting it. If this would have been the League Cup that we won and lost 17 games, I'm still willing to put a hell of a lot of money on here, purely on opinion, that people would, all these people that have all of a sudden changed, Ange, he got us a cup, whatever else, wouldn't be saying it.
May I just say, I've not flip-flopped and said Ange out and then Ange in. I've never been one of those people, just to establish I have not flip-flopped on my opinion at all. And anybody who knows me knows what I'm like. I don't do that. If I stick by it, if I feel like he couldn't be here no more, I would say hands up, he can't be here no more, and I would stick by that. Not just because he won or something. And I've never flip-flopped on him, to be fair. Like, I've never been one of those people.
Fair enough. You never have had that attitude as far as I've known you. You've always stuck by your guns, basically.
Do you enjoy
flip-flop.
Do you enjoy his style of football, though, the way he plays the game?
Oh.
I mean, when I was watching him, when I was going to the Aston Villa game, when I went to the West Ham game and we were blowing teams away, that was good to watch. And at times we've had bits and pieces of games where we've looked good, but not consistently throughout a game. I get that.
When we haven't played Ange's way as well, when we haven't used 2 inverted wing backs and we've actually been pushed back more and played as a counteract team, is every game we have looked good.
I mean, you could say that, but I'm not saying
that one.
I'm not saying that his football has been, but I never enjoyed Conte's football either. So obviously, it's a difficult one.
Style of football.
That's it. With the style of football is a hard one.
Attacking football, I mean, that one is each to their own.
Listen, if it wins us trophies, I don't give a damn as long as we win trophies. That's my thing. If we win trophies, I don't care. I had to watch that second half of that game against Man U. I was crapping my pants and I was like nervous as anything, but we got through it and it was hard. It was a tough watch. I won't be re-watching that game ever again, but we won. So
absolutely. Because I mean, I'm just interested because it's not a style of football that I'm particularly like. I mean, I grew up watching Spurs in the 80s. I don't know when you guys watch Spurs, but I grew up with Glenn Hoddle and things like that. For me, as Dan quite rightly says, the football now is robotic quite a lot of times. It's quite boring anyway. But, for me, Ange's style of football, it just isn't for me. That's the main gripe I have with Ange. this style of football isn't good on the eye.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it's not good on the eye, because personally, the reason why I don't think it's good is because he plays too, like I said to you I think it was the last time I was on, Dan, where the tactics they're so too high, they're too inverted. It just doesn't work. And that's because everyone wants to play the Pep Guardiola way.
It's just they get the main bit wrong of when one inverts and goes up there, the other stays back and makes it a back three. Yet this manager is totally incapable of mixing it in a game, basically.
Yeah. And that's the thing, Dan, right? And the thing is, Dan, right? I just can't. I can't get behind someone whose tactics are all over the place. I don't care about the style of football. We could play. I
don't care about style of football. I couldn't give a shit about the Spurs philosophy. I just want to win.
Yeah, and
he's won us a cup, but I'm sorry, that does not justify 17th in the league.
Yeah, and that's
we need
why
a better manager.
And that's why I'm saying, and I've been like this and Mia can probably vouch for me for this. I've been Ange out for God knows how long, right? But I just think we just need to get a new manager in. Thanks for the trophy. Now fuck off is what I think, personally.
No, I'll go with that. I mean, come on, anyone else? What is right to do for the club? Not morals.
So, like I said, I've wanted this guy out, but then I just feel like based off winning the cup, he should be given a chance. But then that is on the.
But now you're speaking morals.
Yeah,
because you've just said I feel. That's morals.
That is on the premise of us backing him and giving him players. Now, do I think Levy is going to do that based off history? No. So if things are going to be how they've been, then he has to go. It's as simple as that.
So basically, we risk next season. We risk it. We risk next season by doing what is morally correct by keeping him.
Not this season.
And it is risking the season because I guarantee after 10 games, if it ain't going right, all these ones that have all of a sudden changed in to give him. Because what was it? I mean, Sean Butler said it the other day that before the game, I can't remember the numbers exactly yet, but he said before the game, he'd done a thing on X, basically, a vote, and it was like 85% Ange out. And then all of a sudden we won the game, and it was now 60% Ange in, basically. So, you know what's going to happen? Yeah, go for it. Just let me finish this bit.
Sorry.
So, in the first 10 games, if it don't go right, all those ones that have diverted over to Ange in through being morally correct are going to be bang on his case again, basically contradicting themselves, and the season's going to be pretty much fucked again. And that could be a lot of money wasted on where we could rebuild as such and start getting somewhere. This is the best chance for it, in my opinion. Go on, Mia.
Someone asked me in the chat about my logic. I feel like I'm a pretty logical person, so trying to come at me with my logic is, I think, pretty daft. But the fact is that I said we could win cups, as in cups that we're able to win. Champions League and Premier League is, I think, no matter what manager we have, with the way that we are as a club, and are very unlikely. We got to Champions League final, obviously, with Poch, but we had never ever done it ever. So it just shows you how rare that is. And Premier League, we have only won the double back in the 60s. We've never won a title since, and like a league, like in the actual league. So I'm trying to say that I would logically go for the cups that are winnable, and I don't think that's illogical at all to say that we should go for cups that are obviously gettable more so than cups that aren't, like things that are out of my reach. I want to marry Romero. He's out of my reach, man. I ain't never going to get a Romero, so I'm not going to try and get a Romero, am I? Let's be honest. So that's what my logic with it, you know what I'm saying? And as far as Ange goes, if I said, right, I want to keep Ange, yeah, because I believe it's the best thing for the club with, like I say, the players, believing in him, winning him when he said they'd win something. Now, if it goes wrong, Dan, I will hold my hands up and say, do you know what? I was wrong and we
Same
shouldn't
as
have
I
kept
will if it
him.
goes right. You know,
That's
same,
right. If he,
same as I
and
will
I'm
if it
not that,
goes right.
I am that person. If I will not flip flop, I will say, you know what? We shouldn't have kept him for that. We shouldn't have kept him. So I'm going to stick by my principle. And what I said is that I think we should keep him because I think for the sake of the players that now believe in a manager that got them over the line when he said he would, I actually think bringing in someone new to do it all over again, to bring that like thing to them again, to feel the same way, to run through brick, like maybe the kind of players that want to run through brick walls for him, that's going to be more difficult to do when they've just won with that manager. So personally, me, I would keep Ange and I won't flip flop on it. And I will say if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
With what you've said there, yeah, you've justified what you said. And what I mean justified, you've given me logical reason on why you believe that.
Yeah.
I can't say I agree with you, but at the end of the day, it is an opinion because he might end up doing brilliant next season. I just don't think he will, yeah. But you've given me reasons. Whereas all I've heard of a lot of people is, yeah, but he won the cup, so we got to keep him. No, for me, that's not a good enough reason. That's just trying to be morally correct and doing what is right in life as such. You've actually given me your opinion and you've given me reasons why. Most people, it has all just come down, yeah, but he won the cup. Yeah, but he won the cup. I'm sorry, I don't care if he won the fucking cup. 17th is not good enough in the league. But with what you've said, I can get your point. I can totally get your point because you've given me reasons. This is what I've been talking about the whole time. Are we just doing what is morally correct here? Or are people looking at what is the right thing? Eugene, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Look, I've been listening to all the streams, like you've been doing with Sava style, and it's tough. And people can say, I'm flip-flopping this and that. Look, ultimately, I think we're being hypocritical and we're rewriting history. Do I think that Ange can take us to the next level and that he'll succeed by winning the league and, Champions League? I don't think so. I don't think he's that guy. On the other hand, Dan, I think on yesterday's stream, you mentioned about you want a top manager who would compete on multiple fronts, which I agree.
With capability. I'm not saying we're going to get a world-class manager,
right,
but we can get a better manager.
But I know, I agree. But outside of Poch, which manager? We had Jose, Conte, world-class managers. Who else competed on multiple fronts? The point is, this team, this club, regardless of who the manager is, they don't give the manager tools to compete on multiple fronts. Conte, Jose, we reached with Jose, we were in the final.
But with this team,
nobody else can compete. And the point is, we have no depth. The squad has no depth to compete on multiple fronts. So holding that against Ange, we can. But I just think he deserves, even though I don't think he's good enough, he deserves a chance to start the new season, right? Because we cannot say, people in the comments.
Do you feel that do you feel that is? Are you saying that because it's morally correct, or because you actually feel it is right for the club?
I think it's morally correct. The thing is,
so what do you want Levy to do? Do you want him to do what is right for the club? What as everyone has been fucking complaining about for so long? So you don't want him to be morally correct then, because morals is what gets you that can fuck things up.
No, Dan.
So what do you want off him?
I think tomorrow Xavi is interested in coming in. Cool, no problems. A top manager, but the top manager is not going to come in if we say Thomas Frank, Areola, there is a risk as well. There's no guarantee that the new manager is going to come in and things are going to improve. Look at Emery, right? What happened after they sacked Ten Hag? We can say, oh, he wasn't backed and he needs a summer, but the results are shocking. Man U results, the way they play, that we saw in the final as well, are shocking. So unless we get a top manager who would never come here right now, there is always a risk.
I don't
with any of
even.
them.
I get what
And
you
my
mean,
thing
but
is,
it's not a top manager that we need. Yeah, we just need a manager who is more capable, basically, of at least getting us to 8th in the league and being able to go for a League Cup or an FA Cup.
but a League Cup, like getting 8th versus 17th, obviously it's embarrassing. I can stand one season of 17th and a trophy. And there was when you guys were talking about yesterday as
I've
well.
said that as well. I can put that aside for that, but it doesn't mean I want the manager here.
I agree. But what's interesting, and the reason I'm flip-flopping and I can't decide is we saw Ange adapting in the cup. So there are two possibilities. Did he learn his lesson and that's why he played a certain way in a cup, or he did not? And we don't know, right? What annoys me more about Ange is the development of younger players like Archie Gray and Mikey Moore. If we threw the league in January, there's no excuse for him not to play Archie Gray the 6 and Mikey Moore. But that's a different issue, right? I do want to see, I think he deserves a chance to show us if he learned his lesson or did not, right? And for me, it's tough to say. If I take him at his word that we threw the league and we didn't care about the league, again, I don't know if it's true or not, but he deserves a chance to show us if he learned his lesson and if he's going to adapt some tactics from the cup run into the next season. But
so
even
basically,
then,
you're
right,
doing this through morals. Basically, you're doing this through morals.
No, but it depends what our options are. Again, if you tell me either it's Areola or Ange, I would say give Ange a chance because Areola, I don't rate him. Frank, people say
Personal
he's a
opinion,
good
yeah.
manager. I don't know. What's that?
If that's your personal opinion, that's fine.
But again, I'm torn. Like I said, I can argue. I can go either way, and that's
basically
why
you're arguing with yourself between what is correct and what is morally correct.
And that's why I admit I've been flip-flopping every hour.
Right.
Like I can decide.
So again, my point is before I go to Sean then, what do actually people fucking want Daniel Levy to do? What is right for the football or what is morally correct, which isn't right for the football, or just stick to his business? Do they actually want this man to do what is right for this club?
But again, it depends what the alternative is, right? It's all relative. Again,
are you telling me we could not? Now we're in Champions League and whatever. Are you telling me we cannot go out there and find a better manager than fucking Ange Postecoglou?
But again, so give me some names. For example, again, right? If we're talking about Silva, Areola, Thomas Frank, they might
who've
be
had
better.
Just as many injuries as us this season and played in just as many competitions, basically, except Europa Cup, yeah, and finished significantly higher than us in the league.
Sure, but one fuck all, right? But, I mean, so again, it's tough. Like I said, I can argue either position. That's why for the first time, because usually I have a strong opinion about things. I was engine for a longest time, and I was arguing with you, I remember, because I was engine. Then I was Ange out. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if he wins or loses. I want him out. But kind of experiencing the emotion and what I've seen from the players and the fans and like kind of personal feeling, I shifted somewhat again. And again, sure, you can call me flip-flop, you can do whatever, but I just don't see another option, a risk-free option here. Again, if it's Xavi, Ancelotti, whoever, sure, top manager with experience, with a CV of winning. But Silva is not it. Areola is not it. Even Thomas Frank.
Okay, fair enough. I get your point. I mean, I've got 10 minutes left. So, Sean, how you doing?
Good, Dan. How you doing, mate?
Same Spurs, different day.
Can I say congratulations, Sean, on not being the biggest flip-flop? We've got a new one, Eugene.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. You're still the biggest donut I've ever met, though. So nice to see you again. Yeah, how you doing?
Shots fired. How did I get involved in
you two?
Look, the Ange debate is very simple. Okay, it's very, very simple right now. Everyone is a little bit like the hangover's past, or that they're coming down back to gravity. Okay, what you have to ask yourself, given how much of a momentous moment we are in our football club, this summer is the biggest summer in Daniel Levy's tenure. Right?
Like the past 5.
What go for all the reasons? There's a plethora of reasons, but it's so big. It's so big. If you are someone that says, I'm Ange in, but because of the cup trophy, but when you're pressed on it, you say, I'll give him 10 games or I'll give him till Christmas. If it's one of those types of arguments, if that's how you feel, you're Ange in, but you're not sure, so you want to give it like a try before you buy for the start of this season. If that's how strongly if that's the strength of your conviction in Ange Postecoglou, then he has to go. You could, if you are Ange in and you say, nah, he deserves it, he's my guy, and he is like, give him the season, and if he does well, renew the contract, all that stuff, then fair enough. But if you are someone that leans into, I'm Ange in because of the cup trophy and it's meritocracy and he deserves the chance, but I'm not really that confident, and so we'll reflect after 10 games. If that's how strong your conviction in your Ange in is, then you are not Ange in, and this summer is too important to waste on a guy based on Daniel Levy reading the room and thinking everyone's singing his name on Friday, when most of those people were just still drunk because of what happened on Wednesday. Then the room is lying. Right? You need to be categorically clear whether you have confidence that this is the geezer that gets 200 million quid or whatever we've got to spend to rebuild and go again this season, because he doesn't win the Europa League next year. Aston Villa do. We're not in the Europa League. We're in the Champions League. We're fishing with the Sharks, not the Dolphins. Right?
So
We're on a different level.
So what does he now do, Sean? Blow the season out and go for the League Cup or the FA Cup and finish 15th and get the League Cup?
So for me, I said it on my chat because I've taken so much heat in the last 48 hours, last 72 hours. I've taken so much. Everyone, like, I go to bed at night and I've got like X amount of subscribers. I wake up and then between like midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning in the Australian hours, it's just, you're a dick, you're a CUNT, you're this, you're that, fuck you. But all these Angophiles from Australia, and I love Australians, by the way, but that's where the pressure is coming from. The heat is coming from Australia, who are backing their boy because that guy is their guy who's done it in Europe. Congratulations, your boy did a great job in a market that is set at a standard. The Premier League is a step too far for him. That much has been made clear. 22 league defeats is not explainable because we are deprioritizing. 38 defeats in 2 seasons does not explain the deprioritization. If you are Ange in because you're emotionally attached because of what happened 5 days ago, and your extension of your argument is, I'll give him 10 games, then you don't really believe in him. And if you don't really believe in him, then you cannot be sitting there saying that we give him the keys to the kingdom for the biggest summer in our life. You have to be Ange out.
Sean, don't you think
it's too important for an emotional argument? It's too important for an emotional argument.
Doesn't alternative matter, Sean?
We've had, hang on a second, Eugene.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, me and you, Sean, we've had like many things we disagree on, other things we agree on. This one, mate, I'm 1,000,000% behind you. 1,010% behind you with anyone and everyone who would question it.
But then,
you are right. People are wanting to hang on to do this through morals. And yet, it's all good having morals in life. We all need to have certain morals. Some people don't, I know. But when it comes to business, when it comes to sport, when it comes to getting to the top, for me, morals don't come into it.
If it was any other season and it was just like, oh, you know what, we're just doing what Tottenham does, I'd be like, okay, fine, give him. But this season, right, you've got Aston Villa that are back in Aston Villa will be in the Europa League. They're going to win the Europa League. They'll walk the Europa League. They'll walk it. So they'll be in the Champions League season after next. Newcastle, £100 million, right? They're going to keep all their best players. They can go again. They've already got a great squad. They just need some depth. City in it. Chelsea in it. They got the Club World Cup money coming. Arsenal, Liverpool in it. It's never been more important to get this summer right at Tottenham. And if you are half-hearted Ange in because you just, oh, I'm so glad. Sorry, there's no room for emotion right now. Any other time, I'll tolerate it. I get it.
Would you be happy with Marco Silva, Sean?
Spot on, Sean.
Would you be happy with Marco Silva or Areola? Alternative matters, right?
Marco Silva's staying at Fulham. So
no, but I'm just saying, right? If it's Xavi, if it's a top manager, I agree with you. But there is a risk because we never tracked, or it's hard for us to track top managers.
Of course. If the argument is, is it Ange Postecoglou or is it like an Ian McKenna or whoever?
Areola, right? Marco Silva.
Whatever. Marco Silva. Whatever. If the market's dry, but it isn't. It isn't dry. There's 4 or 5 names out there that we can go and gobble up if we pay the right money and we pitch the right model. And by the way, the notion that you don't go to Tottenham because you don't win trophies, that's dead, right? That story's dead now. Okay, so we've got the draw, we've got the city, we've got the stadium, we've got the money, we have the players, we have the youth. What we need right now is a captain of the ship that doesn't. By the way, he doesn't even have to be a winner. It doesn't, because you're not Tottenham, and I'm worried that Tottenham fans are now going to reset their expectation back to we won this year. Next year we have to win again. The year after we have to win again. Like that doesn't happen in football. The most successful teams of all times do not win every year. They lose more often than they win, or they fail more often than they succeed. If the line in the sand is a season with a trophy is success and a season without is failure, if that's the overly simplified version of football that people want to figure out on success and failure, then even the most successful teams of all time in England, they fail 60% of the seasons that they participate in football. And everybody else fails more often than that. So right now, you don't even necessarily need to have someone that is a winner, like a Conte. What you do need is a perfect manager for what we have, which is a maturing squad that needs that youth approach that can get the juice from the squeeze of this team and this talent, harvest what we have, bring in some real talent, and then go again next season, get back up into the top 5 by merit, because we're not going to win the Champions League. And then the season after, you're prepared for the big one, right? The big push. But that doesn't need to be a Conte type manager. That can be an Edin Terzic, if that's where I think there's problems with him, because I think he's a power freak. But that can be a Oliver Glasner. That can be a Xavi. That can be a, dare I say, an Inzaghi. I'd love to see him. It's not going to happen. But like,
that would be my prime, but I doubt that'd happen.
Right now, the most important thing is the fan base to figure out, think long and hard. When you're saying you're Ange in, do you really believe that he is the guy that can take us to the next level? And if the answer is no, because you're saying, well, he just deserves it, then sorry, it's too important. You can't fuck around with your opinion on this one.
I agree.
I want to ask
so I just
something.
want to do the super chat quick, Mia, and then I'll come to you. I mean, Alan Valerie, Danny and Sava, the anti-flip-flop brigade, much love from France, Spurs fans since 1975. Thanks a lot, mate. That's much appreciated. And yeah, it takes more than 90 minutes to flip-flop me, mate. Go on, Mia, go with what you're going.
I was going to ask Sean then, so what would your version of progression be then? Because obviously what you're trying to say is that you don't believe that Ange Postecoglou can progress us. So what would you class as progression?
He can't progress us, mate.
Yeah. Well, hold on. I'm not questioning you because that's your belief, but I'm asking you what you see as progression.
What, next season?
Yeah, the next season.
Next season, I want to see a manager that gets 10 of the squad that are below the age of 22 to be better versions of themselves, significantly better versions of themselves, because they've already got obscene talent, but we haven't seen any of them really progress. We haven't seen any development of any of the young players because Ange Postecoglou isn't a guy that has any real track record of developing youth. So it was a weird appointment in the first place that was more around Daniel Levy trying to please fans that wanted to go to a front foot philosophy. So we need a guy that is a monster of youth development. We need to get a guy that winning mentality where it's about consistency, where it's about taking that trajectory forward and get back up so that every week we are beating or trying our best and getting the right result 75% of the time, and that we are a top 3, 4, 5, doing what Nottingham Forest did this season. But
it's what we should be doing every season.
Which is what we should be doing every season. And obviously a cup run. If we can get a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, great. If we can have a decent run and get to the quarterfinals, semi-final.
So would you rather us go back to how we was with Poch, basically? Because Poch did that. I already stated the fact is that Poch actually didn't get us, when it comes to cups and league positions, it was actually more often than not fully, like, we were competing in them, like within the top 5, top 4, but mostly we were coming out of the cups in that case. We weren't going far in cups when we were in that position.
Poch.
But I'm not trying. Let's not go back on Poch. No, my point would be, would you want us to go back to that then? Is that what you're trying to say is progression? That's what I'm trying to establish.
The league is the bread and butter. The league is where you get your consistent application, your consistent access. If you qualify in the Europa League, like the season after next, because you finish 7th, and then you go and win it the season after that, that's great, right? You're doing what Valencia did and Villarreal did, and you're doing that kind of like you go up, you come down, you go up, you come down, you're always pitching around. But if you really want to get where Tottenham fans want us to be, then you can't do that as a cup team.
I don't understand why people. But we've never been that club where we've actually, only with Poch did we really try and challenge for the league. So I don't understand why people would prefer that. Then I would rather be a Valencia. I'd rather be the team that wins cups more often, like goes and fights for those cups, than to try and fight.
What happened to those teams? All those teams you've mentioned, I mean, Valencia being one of them, nearly evaporated as a club because they literally focused on cups at one point.
100%.
And just totally evaporated in the league. Now, the problem we've got here is next season, if we want to keep up with it, we need to be looking at top 5, because I think the English teams get far enough in us again to get us that 5th place in the Champions League. Yeah. If it weren't for that cut, if it weren't for us getting Champions League this year, we would have been fucked. Blunt as. No ifs, no buts. There wouldn't have been people on it preaching about, oh, we won the League Cup, so let's stay. I reckon even if he won the FA Cup, people would be happy, but it'd still be more of a question of, but where are we going to go with it, basically? We need to be looking at it. We need to be fighting at a top 5 place next year for that Champions League, because we ain't got the scapegoat of this Europa Cup anymore to get us into that Champions League. Exactly. So surely if we want to get in the Champions League and keep up with it, we need to be looking at the league is the bread and butter. I know trophies is what it's about and what people want.
But you're not going to win a trophy every year. No one does, right? So, like, if you focus on the league, and then you have a squad, but that, by the way, is capable of competing on multiple fronts. If there's a manager that actually starts making excuses and starts taking accountability,
this team is
more than capable of doing this season a 6th place, a 6th place, whatever. We're capable. We're up there with Aston Villa in squad level, right? Aston Villa just qualified for this. We've got Newcastle United have got a fantastic first team. We've got no depth, right? We've got maybe not as good a first team as Newcastle, but our depth is far better. So we could have competed on multiple fronts. Injuries for sure are a viable justification for some of the problems. It doesn't explain the whole lot of it. The problem is we had a manager that was too fucking stubborn. We've got a manager that is too fucking stubborn to sit there and say that league football isn't knockout football and my job's not on the line. Therefore, I'm going to stick to my guns and die on that stupid fucking anthill that he died on, saying it's who we are, mate. We're never going to change. Well, guess what? It wasn't who we were when it came to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, or the final. All of a sudden, his job was on the line and he went, all that shit I've been saying for 2 years, forget all that. Let's go and do park the bus football. And by the way, park the bus football in the Champions League will get picked off by teams like PSG. If we went and played the way we did against Frankfurt away at PSG, their forward line and their midfield would walk through us.
And if we go and play Ange's usual way, we would still get fucking destroyed.
But then saying that our squad is strong enough to challenge for top 5 spot is just not true. We do have depth. But if you look at the starting 11, look at our front 3 and compare him to other top.
But I'm talking about, I'm talking about next season when we go and buy an Eze, we go and buy Jonathan David, whatever, right? We go.
No, I'm talking about. So take any manager, take a great manager with this squad, with this front 3. There is no way we're making top 5. Top 8, 9,
100%. We could be in the European competition.
Think of it this way:
top 6 in the European conversation. 100%.
Top 6
with this squad.
Yeah,
this squad,
this front 3
for sure.
And it hasn't even been scoring goals that's been the problem. Look how many goals we scored.
Yes, it has. Dan,
about 4 games ago,
we scored goals in 5 games.
I know we score in patches. Yeah,
20 games
down to it.
Dan, in 20 games we scored less than 1 goal.
Look at the goals we conceded. It's our defense that is the problem. You don't think it's the defense that's the problem? The fact that we concede the same goals every fucking game.
It's not the quality of our defense, Dan. It's the organisation of it.
There were 20 games where we scored 1 or 2 goals. 20 games.
We were walked through by fucking Ipswich, by Palace, by
for sure. I agree.
Leicester. You know,
but like it
was embarrassing. Right? It was embarrassing. That's to me, that starting back 5 is the 3rd, maybe 2nd best back 5 in the Premier League.
And but they played 30% of the games or 40% of the games.
This argument that we only played 20 games over 2 seasons, fair enough. That's the fact, right? But we played 4 of that 5 in about 45 games. So It's the way it was organised, right? So for me, it's just the manager. The manager died on a hill that he didn't need to die on in the Premier League, and then as soon as it came to knockout football, when he realised that his reputation was on the line and his job was on the line, he gave it all up. And then he said, "You told me. I told them they didn't listen to me. I listened to him for 2 years. I heard him say last season was too few games. This season it's too many. Last season he said top 10 and a trophy wasn't a good season. This season he spun that we finishing 17th as part of his grandmaster fucking plan." Right? Like the geezer says everything. And if you say everything, then eventually you're going to be right. And if you just then pick the one thing that you said that actually was right, and you try and forget the other 900 that didn't happen, and people listen to that shit and gobble it up like a $10 hooker in Tijuana, like, I'm sorry, we need to pay attention a bit more.
Hold on a sec. No, because you know what you're doing, Sean? You're trying to insult people's intelligence. I wouldn't call myself somebody who's stupid. I do listen to Ange. And with everything that you've said, there's been other things that have been misquoted. And also, you're taking it out of context. When he said about fighting for, obviously the league was out of our reach. So he basically didn't think that it was possible for us to do, so he concentrated on Europa. Last season, maybe when he said we didn't have enough games, the context, I can't remember what the context around what the question was. What I'm trying to say is people say these little sound bites and pick up things, and you're trying to insult my intelligence by me saying that some of that stuff that he says, when you look at it in context, sometimes is actually not as dumb as what you're trying to make it out to be. And don't insult my intelligence and don't insult people's intelligence by saying that they just suck it up like a. No, because you're saying about a hooker. Oh, like a hooker. Like, no, man. Like, listen, people take things differently. People take things differently.
Okay, I think with that one, he was talking in random there. If he would have aimed that straight at you, I'd have stuck up for you.
The point is that I feel like. Yeah, but I'm saying you shouldn't insult people's intelligence like that and saying that everybody's the same with the way that they believe in what he says and the things that he says. Like, you're just assuming that everybody's stupid to say, "Oh, we all suck it up and believe it."
And the people that are sitting there cheering when he says, "I told them it would happen, they didn't believe me." Okay, do you remember that he also told you that there was going to be a second season title challenge? Do you remember him saying that, Mia?
Yep.
What happened to that? He hasn't mentioned that in the last 12 months, has he? But he did say it to us.
I'm not trying to say that, Phil.
Anything that managers say.
It was nothing personally aimed at you, Mia. It was just talking in random.
It wasn't at you.
I know it wasn't aimed at me, but I took that personally because I know that when people say like stuff like that, it's like insulting people's intelligence, man. And I do think some of the stuff he says gets taken out of context with what people say. And I feel like that's done a lot with Ange. And I don't think that's fair to do that to somebody when managers like Eugene say, look at the things that Jose says in the past. Lots of managers, look at the light bulbs and the lemon squeezing of what Arteta's saying. Mate, he's off his rocker what he says. So you can't exactly go by what managers say all the time.
So
like, if
managers
you think about
do
it,
have to speak a lot of bullshit. We know that, yeah. But this fella, as blatantly as far as look, another point I'll make with it quickly before I end this, yeah, is someone on the side said, and I've heard other people say that people think that finishing top 4 is now a trophy and whatever, and you can thank that to like Wenger, whatever. We can even say top 5 because the majority of the time, I think we can get top 5 in the Premier League will get you Champions League these days, yeah? And the problem is, it is it is bigger than a cup. Finishing top 4 is bigger than a cup. Now, we want the cup, we want the silverware. But if you want to carry on in life, you also need that top 4. You also need the money that comes in from it as well. Otherwise, you end up doing something like a Newcastle, who have taken time to get there, but have got all the money in the world to spend, but ain't got a fucking pot to piss in because they ain't got no income and they ain't getting in the Champions League regular. And I mean, at the end of the day, what does winning an FA Cup or a League Cup get you through money, or even a Europa Cup? Fuck all, money-wise, yeah? But now they're getting in the Champions League more. They're getting that revenue in. They can start spending more. If we then just sit back and then just win a few FA Cups, a few League Cups, let's say over the next 5 years, we win 2 FA Cups and 2 League Cups. yeah, everyone's going to be happy we've done it. But if we haven't made top 4 or top 5 and got in Champions League, we're just going to end up sitting down the table and ended up lower than a Crystal Palace team, basically, because we're not going to have a pot to piss in. We're not going to be able to spend the fucking money that we've got. And then we will just literally become that club. Yeah, we get a couple of cups. But why can't we have both? We are big enough.
We were
you have
making
to get
Champions
that Champions League.
And good enough, yeah.
We were making Champions League for a while, right, under Poch, and we still ended up in this situation. So being in Champions League doesn't guarantee anything because, the league is going to be won by, Liverpool, City, maybe Arsenal, right? So, of course...
But not being in the Champions League does guarantee something. No, hang on.
We're not going to win the league.
I'm countering what you said. Being in the Champions League guarantees nothing. Fine. Not being in the Champions League guarantees that you ain't able to spend the money.
Sure, I agree. But that's why I'll take a cup.
So, Sean, just quickly, mate, just before I know Dan wants to end it, just quickly, would you take Areola for the beginning of next season with a whole new transfer budget? Just quickly, just yes or no?
Areola from Bournemouth?
Yeah.
No.
Did you see him in Spain? He was dang average in Spain.
I watched him at Valladolid. I think he's got Ange. So
dang average in Spain. Didn't do anything.
I think there's never-ending list of managers that take on a team that usually finishes 15th and then they get them to 8, and everyone thinks they're the real deal, and it turns out they're not. It's never-ending list. Listen, I wouldn't. If that was the decision, by the way, if that was what happened, I'd get on board it. Like I'd get on board it. I'd be like, yeah, okay, let's see what happens. But is he on the top 5 of my list? No, not at all.
Okay, no, just wanted to ask you that quickly, mate, just to know your opinion. That was it, mate.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay. So
right, look,
Sean,
I've got to cut it because I've got to do something else as well after this one and that. Cheers for everyone for coming on. Yeah, rant at the start. It might sound like I'm not grateful for what we've got as a cup and that. Of course I am, but I'm sorry. That's done and dusted. That's the past now. I look for the future. I want improvement. And I just don't see how hanging on to this fucking manager is any sort of improvement to anybody. And JSY, thanks for coming a member. And again, Alan, Valerie, much appreciated, mate. And, well...
Thanks for having me, mate. Appreciate you.
Thanks for everyone coming on. And let's see where this is going to take us now, because I just feel there's too many people that are flip-flopped over morals, over emotion. And that is one thing that can cause you a lot of trouble in life when you just.
And they've all come back today, mate. Just last thing I say on a show I did at midnight last night. I said, "How's everyone feel about Ange right now? You Ange in or Ange out?" And it went 85% Ange in. Today, it's back to 80% Ange out again. Oh, sorry, 67% Ange out.
You said that the other day as well. When
weird.
We're fans.
I mentioned that what you said on the show the other day on Sava's one as well. This is how flip-flop this fan base is.
Yeah.
But
which is why Daniel Levy should never listen to the fans, because the fans don't know what they want.
It does look like that. It's made me feel like I'm not such a Levy outer anymore because of a lot of people that I've seen now asking him to do what is morally correct, not correct for the club. It now contradicts everything that I've heard people preach, that he only ever does stuff for business. We want him to do what is right for this football club. Now they're asking him to do the total opposite. Again, they contradicted themselves as far as I'm concerned. And I'll stand by that one. Anyway, thanks for watching, people. Much appreciated. After this, go over to Tottenham away, which it's going to direct you to, and just say Hotspur Hood raid, whatever. And I'm sure I might catch you on there later on. Cheers, people. Take care. I'm